Oh my gosh.
We're live.
It is so Wednesday. And I just realized just the second, Ricky, that this is the first time that it's just been me and you for a long time.
Yeah.
Because there was, excuse me, there was last time with Derek's from Swan's Emporium,
Yep.
and then there was the Q&A that I
Yep.
did, and then there was before that was with Dan, right? I
Before that
think.
was with Dan.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it's been a while, and I just want everyone to know that I've missed being able to give you my undivided attention.
Miss giving me your undivided attention.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love to just really, really lock in on what you're saying and doing,
Wow.
So, yeah, I've missed that.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
We're here for the Midweek Machamps Volume 18. And we're going to be talking about some of the anniversary sets from the past and how they performed and if they're interesting and the types of cards that they introduced or reintroduced, and what we can hope to expect from 30th anniversary, because we've gotten some teases but nothing like specifically solid that's been revealed from like a anniversary set.
Yep.
And so yeah, we want to kind of lean into that, talk about it. What are we excited about? What are we worried about? And that kind of stuff. Anything else you would add to that?
No, I think just good to also remind folks that we are planning to do an extended Q&A today. So we picked an intentionally sort of light. You and I have been talking about doing a Q&A only episode for a really long time, and then you ended up doing one solo while I was sort of tending to some of my last weeks of corporate life.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just decided like, hey, let's do a lighter main topic today, and there aren't as many Hitmon topics this week as like that are different than what we covered with Derek. That was a really, really topic dense episode.
That was a beefy episode.
It was. And like not a ton has changed in the 2 weeks since that episode. So we were like, hey, let's just have some fun looking back on anniversary sets and looking forward to this next one, and then spend more time with the chat and Q&As. So as always, folks, we'll spend time at the end on Q&As. Normally we do like 20 or 30 minutes. Maybe we spend closer to an hour, give or take today. And we'll get there maybe a little bit sooner than we often do. So you can always drop questions in and we'll do our best to star them. I see one's in the chat right now. You can always hold them and ask them later. And if you're interacting in the chat during, we'll pull things up when it makes sense to throughout the conversation as well.
Oh, look at this comment. I like this.
Yes, probably our next episode. I don't know if we'll have a guest yet. I was thinking about whether we should have a guest, but probably our next episode we will talk about my last day. Actually, they moved up one day. I'm not exactly sure why, but it's now April 1st.
So your last day is Wednesday then?
Yes, 1 week from today.
Man, so they want even less of you around, Ricky.
Yeah, I know. And I can't remember if I don't think I mentioned this last time. I said this in the comments on one of my videos because Dan, Catch 'em All Collectibles, had said, hey, if things get tough in the macro economy enough that it affects your Pokemon business, it might have affected your corporate job anyway. They might have just let you go anyway. And my leadership has let me know that we are not immediately backfilling my role, which is interesting. I didn't read too much into that, but I read a little bit into it as like, hey, if things got tough and they had to like draw a line somewhere, my name might have been below that line. And that doesn't mean they would have. There's other things I could have done in the business, like they could have moved me to another team. But definitely thought that was kind of interesting. So
that is interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, when I left, I remember there being some pretty hurt feelings from the people above me as they had to like, open up a job requisition and find the person, just because like my role was like very specifically in a hierarchy of, 30 people and then 4 team leaders and then, kind of thing. So like you can't just not have the person that, in that position.
Yeah.
But I mean, they backfilled me like basically instantly. And it was one of those things where it was like, as much as you might think that you are the bee's knees, business moves on. He's irreplaceable. That's so true. Yeah, you're so irreplaceable that they just eliminated the position. We couldn't possibly have it done by someone else.
No.
It's over.
Too scary to imagine anybody else running this team. So we're just gonna like fracture the team into different parts and move it around the org. So anyway, yeah, it's interesting. Interesting to learn that. But yeah, and then,
You mentioned possibly having a guest on, and you and I actually haven't talked about this. This is just a
yeah,
maybe. That this is just us discussing live for the people to hear.
I love it.
What if we had Earn back on?
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Okay, so it's so perfect because we had the episode. It was
Yes.
episode number 1 or 2.
It was
it 2?
very early
It
too.
was super early on. And it was like, okay, is quitting your full-time job and going into Pokemon a realistic thing or whatever? And your answer back then was more on his side of like, this isn't something I'm going to be doing. Now that's changed for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I've also heard in recent videos that where he has said not necessarily that he's quitting, but that like if his job was removed somehow, that he would probably try to go full time into cards.
Yeah. He has said that.
So that is interesting.
Agreed. Yeah, if we can get him, that's I had the exact same thought to revisit that. I'll have to go back and watch the episode. I remember some of the things I said. Obviously, I have my same brain, but I know, for example, at the time, one of the things that I said was like, I'd have to see that I could make $1 million a year for 2 years and like, get in and get out, like not here for a long time. And I just at the time had so much less information and confidence in the longevity of doing something like this. So just knowing that there's longevity in it, regardless of hype cycle or whatever, completely different mind frame there than and I don't have any sort of aspirations or expectations of making $1 million a year for the next couple years and then quitting. It's much more tempered to like, I think this could be something I do for many years and enjoy it at any whatever baseline, as long as it meets my baseline financial needs, it would be worth it.
I love it.
Yeah,
I completely agree. And and his take on it might have changed since then too. So maybe we talk about that offline.
Yeah. Harrison Tuttle here says, ever since you introduced me to Earn, I'm always listening to his videos while I drive. Community, it's perfect time filler. Yeah, there was he's been driving in the dark for an hour.
I've watched both. I've watched both of those videos where he's just in a moving van. It's high quality content. I can't put it down.
Yeah, 100%. All right, man. Well, we're 8 minutes in, and I think it's time to dive in. So we are going to be talking about the anniversaries in a little bit, but let's start with our usual traditional topics, leading in with a PC pickup or an item that we have a connection to. Most of the time, you and I do PC pickups because we're always doing something in the PC. So you or me first, man.
Let's go with you.
Sure. Okay. So I'll just do a very quick one, and then I'll do the more real one. Just a couple more additions that came to my table. The onesies and twosies, as you're vending, and I'm like, I don't remember if I need these. I'm not going to track it, and then it turned out I needed them. So I love, picking up more LC stuff, and I think I have like 36 or something of the 110. So we're making decent progress at a pace I'm happy with. The real one is that in my binder, I like to collect sort of like 2-page panels. And one of the panels I'm doing is Shinji Konda's arts. And one of the cards I haven't gotten because of the price is the Seismitoad. It came out, it was like a $280. People were speculating that there's a 666 in it and it get banned and run out of print or the art would be changed or whatever. And it ran up like crazy back then. And it's just stayed one of the most expensive illustration rares since. But the story with this one is that my buddy, who I mentioned in my sort of quitting my job video, my buddy who's a chief revenue officer at an AI company, and he's a good friend of mine, came by with his daughter. And they bought a base set Zard from me. And then we were like, me and JT all day were ripping Black Bolt and White Flare packs just to get a little dopamine drip throughout the day. And I had a booster bundle I had just bought that day. I was like, hey, let's just wipe out the entire profit of the base set Zard I just sold you and open some packs. And so I hand him a pack, hand his daughter a pack, and he pulls this and he has no idea what it is or the value of it. And we're all like, dude. So I was like, I do need this for my collection, and it would be fun to get the copy. Like, there's a funny story there now, right? Like, just kind of degenning at the table, and my buddy pulls it, and so he traded it to me for another Charizard, actually a different Charizard. So
you gave him the card, so you like gave him the packs to open. Oh wow,
yeah,
that's awesome, man. And then he pulls the Seismitoad. Like that's what like probably the second or third biggest hit in the entire set, right?
I bet the red Victini and the black. I don't know exactly what comes in each set. They're and they have a ton of illustration rares. Like I always every time I see an illustration where I don't recognize, I'm like, that's got to be from Black Bolt or White Flare because there's like 150 of them.
Yeah.
But yes, I think of the illustration, it might be the second most expensive Well, I guess some of the 151 stuff has gone up quite a bit, but it's one of the top 5, I want to say, most expensive illustration rares, period.
Yeah.
So anyway, that aside, I just like the card. I don't actually care what it costs. It's just that I haven't bought it because I felt like it was a little bit overvalued. And
yeah,
so getting
no,
it.
it's a fantastic card. I've owned it a couple of times at the table in the PSA 10, and people want it too.
Yeah.
Even though I think it's $800 or $900 last time I checked, not cheap.
Yeah.
A really good artwork.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So those are my PC pickups, man. What are yours?
So main PC pickups. I haven't done a show in almost like a week and a half. I was in Houston because last weekend we took off, this past weekend, and it's kind of an interesting story, and I want to paint the picture here because we have the footage in our vendor POV that's likely coming out tomorrow, but like the context doesn't really make as much sense because the two situations happened like really far apart from each other. So someone, I worked out a deal with someone for a card the day before the show. And then as they were coming up to my table the next day, so Saturday, to give me I think to take my payment or something like that, because he wanted cash. He showed me some other cards that he had. He was a vendor and he's usually got like low pop stuff. And I do like the low pop stuff, especially the Gen 3 cards like reverses and stamps and stuff. And he shows me the Venusaur from Crystal Guardians. And the card that I put up on my Instagram, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And in this climate of low pop stuff, like, it's basically like name your price. If you have one of those cards, it's like pop 60 or below. And we're looking at recent sales, and it last sold for 3,000. And he was asking, I think, like 4,500 or something. And I was like, man, like, I don't think I can justify, paying that high above recent comps for something that I plan to keep. Like, I've paid above comps in this market for some cards that I think I have a chance to resell.
Yeah.
But for PC, I'm just like, I'm taking the risk. And then, if it decides to comp lower or something, then I'm just like totally cooked being the highest ever comp by like 50%. And he said, oh, well, I can do 41 for you. And I was like, I just don't know if I like it enough to justify that. So I passed on it and I said no. And then later that day, a patron came up to the table and had that Venusaur in a 10, 14 cert, because he had just gotten it back from PSA the day before.
Huh.
And he was like, yeah, I'm open to take an offer at the last sale. And I was like, I think I could justify the last sale. So I paid him full 100% of the last sale, which was only like a week before that. But I was like, in a market like this, I think that's relatively safe.
Agreed.
And there's no chance I find a better copy than a 14 cert that just got graded. And so that's the card that I added to my PC from that show.
Wow. That's wild. What's the pop on that card?
I think it's like 65, 66, something like that.
And two of them show a card you would otherwise like not see in it. You could vend every weekend for 6 months and never see that card. And two of them show up at your table. That's wild.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, no, it was pretty insane. And yeah, it's one of those cards that I've liked for a long time. I actually, when I first got back into collecting, I made a binder of just 1 through 151 Pokedex binder, and my only rule was that I wanted all the cards to be like vintage. And so they didn't have to be WotC, but I wanted them to be older.
Yeah.
And that Venusaur from Crystal Guardians was the one that I picked up for the binder before I even like really knew what sets they were from or like what they should, how rare they were and stuff. I just bought it on TCG Player for like $12 or something back then. And so that's one I have a connection to.
Beautiful. Nice. Cool pickup, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's your favorite or notable deal, but our usual next topic is our favorite or notable deal.
Favorite or notable deal? Well, maybe we'll just go into right at what I was already talking about. So, again, it's a crazy market for vintage e-readers, low pop stuff, first editions, all that kind of stuff. And so on day 2 of the show, this card walked up to me. This is Alakazam Hollow from Skyridge.
Spoon Man.
A giant spoon man. This is a PSA 10. It does have a nice little swirl by the elbow, so it's a great copy of the card. And when I got it, the last comp was $6,900. And the person was like, you know what, I understand the market has just been going up and up. I won't take any less. And so I think the number we came to was 7,500. So I paid $600 over last comp, which was relatively recent.
Mm-hmm.
And so notable deal there. And this is a little bit of take a chancey. I'm hoping that the market continues to be strong and people are going to want that card and that I can hopefully at least get my money back out of it. We'll see.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, take a chance. He's a fun. I'm glad we added that segment because we are going to do one later today. So chat, stick around. We're going to do another take a chancey. I've been doing a lot in this current market, and it does seem relatively easy to seem smart right now.
Yeah,
I'll say. But so this one's not quite take a chancey. I paid strong on it, but it's working out. So I had a lot of notable deals actually at this last show. Sold a lot of cool stuff. But this PSA 7 Gold Star Zard.
Beautiful.
Yeah, one of the bigger individual slabs I've owned. A guy comes up to the table. He goes, "You want to buy this?" And I was like, "Okay, you're selling." I was like, "Have you gotten a good offer yet?" He goes, 6,000. I'm looking at the sales. I think the last sale was 67. And the low list is like 7.2 for a low cert. And this is a 12 cert.
Yeah.
It's like maybe a 4 cert or something that was like 7.2. And then the next similar comparable copy, and it's a noticeably worse copy when you look at this, the photos. This is actually pretty clean. And then when you look at the next low list, it was like 8K. So anyway, I offered him, he's like 6K. I'm like 6K, I'll go for it. So anyway, the story is that I bought it for 6K, and he said that his cousin owed him money and had this and gave this to him in lieu of money. And I was like, okay, so is he like, he's out of debt now? And he's like, no, he still owes me money, but like this helps. And I am working on a big trade plus cash deal with this and my first edition PSA 9 Shining Gyarados with somebody actually through Reddit, funny enough. So
whoa.
Yeah. Doing more
Reddit. You're out here surfing Reddit for deals still. I love that.
It's actually amazing how many of my best collection, but I might fly. It's like it's gonna happen. I'm FaceTiming this guy tomorrow, but somebody I found through Reddit has a $60,000 collection, and I'm going to probably fly to Minneapolis in like a week and a half to pick it up. Whoa. I'll make a video on it, of course, but yeah.
That's awesome. That's the kind of stuff that full-time Pokemon people do.
I know, man. Vang Johnny 08's asking, what do you mean when you guys say 12 cert or 14 cert, and why does it matter? I'm writing a script for a video that explains some of these really unintuitive, confusing things for new vendors and collectors. This is one of them. So what we are referring to is with PSA, this number is the certification number. So cert is short for that. The general consensus among collectors and vendors and such is that PSA standards have gotten more stringent over time. So you have a higher quality 7 in a recent cert they're in 14 or 15 now. So anything past about, would you say 9 or 10 is considered like a very modern cert. They're grading a lot of cards these days. Yeah. Anything before like, there's sort of these middle numbers, but anything before about 5 is like kind of an old cert. Like their standards, generally speaking, you can look up these old cards with 2 certs and look at the back, and there's white dots on every corner. And those same cards today would get a PSA 8. And so for that reason, there is this like cert premium that people have largely started to come around to in the last, I would say it's been a thing for a while, but I'd say really over the last 6 months, it's become sort of more common knowledge and pretty accepted that people will pay more for the card and not just the grade, because you can really see major discrepancies to the extent of being 1 or 2 grades apart in actual quality of the card inside the slab. So we're talking about the first 2 numbers, Vet Tex Barbecue. First 2 numbers. Or in the case of the lower digits, anything before a 10 cert, there's 1 less digit. So yeah, then it's just the first number.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the hobby at large started to really come around to it as there were verified sales like same day or in the same like week that would put these cards like 10, sometimes 20% higher. And again, I would say that it's like the cert is a kind of a factor. What's even, I would say, more important is like, what does the card look like? And so some of you might see like a 2 or a 4 cert sell for just as high as all-time highs, online, but typically it's because when you get the scans of the card, it's really clean. It looks really nice.
Or it's a really rare low pop card, and like those are just the only one that's available, kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Fun deals and PC pickups. Without any further ado, let's just keep it moving, man. Let's get into the tall grass.
Let's do it. I think this time where there's that patch of grass right on the west side of Viridian City, where you can catch like Mankeys and Nidorans, and then you run into Gary Oak up there, and he's got like a level 9 Pidgey. That's where we're at today.
Okay. Wow. And in there, for some reason, even though we're in Kanto, as we often are here,
it's only Kanto. I'm sorry, I'm a Gen 1er.
It's okay, I get it. And those are probably the games that we've played the most, so it's the geography we know the best. So we happen to find Deoxys, specifically this really, really buff guy. It's a funny photo. But the conclusion to the Deoxys drama. So this is about a week old now. Obviously, we're a bi-weekly program, so we talked a lot about this in the last stream, and there has been a resolution here. And the resolution is basically, they worked with me. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Yeah, the resolution, the kind of resolution that might have come with an NDA kind of thing. What's your take on how sparse the details were?
I mean, it has to be. Has to be, of course. And I, for what it's worth, I understand that. Like, I'm sure if you're PSA, you want this to go away, and you don't want to set a precedent for how you compensated this guy. So I'm assuming it. There was an NDA signed and there was some money exchanged.
What's your wild guess at the amount that you got?
The original offer was 19. If I had to guess, oh man. My mind goes, okay, I mean, it's not even a wild guess. I think the Occam's razor explanation would just be that they matched the last sold, that they sold at 45.
Yeah, that's what I would think. That's probably what happened as well. The crazy thing is that this card in a 10 did sell for 60 like last week or the week before.
Did it really?
So I think that's where it is now.
Wow. I mean, that's what people were saying. I think he had said that he got an offer for 60, like private sale or something like that. But obviously that's, that might be hard to prove. So anyway, it's almost certainly, if he was so unhappy with the 20K offer and then they came back with something and they're like, all's good. I'm guessing the number had to be somewhere around 45, 50K. I mean, it would be a particularly unusual precedent to set for PSA to pay over those public comps. Like as a business, they're, as a corporation rather, they're pretty incentivized not to do that. So I think that 45 though is like pretty defensible. Yeah, everyone's like, this guy has huge arms. Why is he so buff? I don't know. It's a hilarious photo for this too, but yeah, he is jacked. Good for this guy. He probably works hard at this.
Yeah, very, very well curated photo for sure.
100%. Yes, definitely an interesting choice. So that's a conclusion to that. We don't have too many other thoughts, I would say, but yeah, the chat's just like, why is this guy so buff? Don't know.
Yeah, I think it's important that we did the follow-up here because we definitely had some things to say about it last time.
We did.
And so yeah, it's good to hear that it got resolved for sure.
Yes, agreed. Our next Hitmon topic is Pokemon Pokopia. So before we talk about this and the impacts on maybe TCG, have you been playing Pokopia?
I personally have not. Fran has been playing it, so we did get a Switch 2 a while back, and I did pre-order Pokopia, and watched her play probably like the first half an hour or so. But it seems very fun. It seems like I think a TikTok came across my feed today, and someone had built like an entire functioning like metro train system in Pocopia, and it just goes to show that like there is that possibility of like almost Minecraft level of customization, which is extremely. I think this is like the only Pokemon game to be that open ended.
Oh, by far, for sure. The closest thing is there was a maybe Gen 3, where you could like you could use an HM to dig in the side of like cliffs and make little homes and like visit each other's homes, but they were not like brick by brick customizable. This studio made the Dragon Quest Builders games. So I don't know if you played those, but it's sort of, it's an RPG, it's a Dragon Quest universe RPG with the sort of Minecraft, like you can mash up basically every block and terraform like the entire landscape.
Yeah.
So it does give you sort of like pretty close to unlimited flexibility. I've been playing this. I don't have as much time for it as I'm essentially working 2 jobs right now, but yeah, it's fun. It's whimsical. It's very like light and joyous, and yeah, it's sweet and like interesting sort of backstory. Like the humans are gone and Pokemon have been gone for a while, and you start building things to get them to come back. And there's definitely an interesting like loop there on like what happened and how does it end. So
I really dig that, honestly. Like I think a lot of the modern Pokemon games have gotten to be a little bit softer in theme, whereas like originally, the idea that like Pokemon have like this level of like morality and ecosystem and stuff like that's totally separate from humans is pretty like that's big time in the anime, the first few games for sure.
Yep.
And I kind of like that we're back to that the stakes are kind of high, even though it's such a light and just kind of fun game.
Totally.
And yeah, it's the kind of thing where like the people who are into those more cozy games can get an intro to Pokemon, maybe if they weren't already fans of the franchise. And I've also seen a lot of people that are like going big into buying Ditto cards. Yeah, the Delta Species reverses. They are going crazy, and I love it because like those are exactly in line with this game, right? Like you kind of pretend that you're a Charmander or a Squirtle or a Bulbasaur, which did happen in Gen 3 cards. Like very, very cool.
I didn't even think about that. I mean, I thought the Ditto thing is obvious, but the Ditto Delta Species acting as such a good point. Yeah, a guest we had recently might have told us in the prep right before an episode that they were buying up some Ditto cards as a sort of speculatively ahead of Pokopia, and that seems to have worked out for them in terms of the value. So yeah, man.
Yeah, we had our stream last night and someone was telling us that Korean Ditto card with Lapras is like up 60% or something like that over the last couple of weeks, which is
wow.
It's a classic example of like where's the attention going next,
Totally. Yeah, it is one of those things where like it's a really bad time to buy if you're just straight up a Ditto collector.
Yes.
Because like the attention will probably move.
I did want to say shout out to Unity Rips for gifting 5 Jar Chomp memberships.
Love it.
Appreciate you. If you were the recipient of one of those, enjoy some extra content on the channel.
Love it.
And lots of questions already coming through, so feel free to keep putting questions in, guys. We're gonna do an extended Q&A at the end here.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, I saw some. If we're gonna do a quick Charmander in the chat, Ronald Shoes TCG says my haircut is fire. Thank you. I've been cutting my own hair since 2017.
You should make a picture of like and like have like really cut off sleeves and buff arms and then a perfect haircut and say that you can cut other people's hair, now that you need to make some money, you've lost your job, and you need to cut some hair and sell Pokemon cards maybe.
You've lost this much confidence in my move that, a few weeks ago would have been a really good time to tell me that you think that if I quit my job for Pokemon, that I might want to cut some hair on the side just to make ends meet.
Yeah. Every dollar counts these days.
Yeah, I hear you. It's true. It's true because I keep spending on Pokemon cards. I'll tell you. I'll tell you later if I'll tell you now while we're on it, and then we'll come back to Pokopia. You know that Mewtwo? I think you have one of these. You showed one in the chat. Mewtwo Breakthrough 158, the full art with the kind of hexagon background. I'll pull it up later. I'll pull up the image later. I bought 3 of them. I just keep buying. I just keep buying Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
I just like it.
There's some cool cardboard out there, guys.
There is. That's what they say. Okay, so Pokopia sold 2.2 million copies in its first 4 days on sale. 1 million of those in Japan. It is also. I just saw that it crossed 90 again on Metacritic, making it the year so far. It's year's still young, but the year's highest rated video game on Metacritic. So
Wow.
it's like a game of the year contender. And it is fun. I totally understand why it does totally work together. But as people have been saying in the chat, as you said about Ditto collectors and stuff like it, this is just another one of those things like Pokemon Go was in 2016-ish, like TCG Pocket was last year. This is just another one of those like accessible things that will bring people into this part of the hobby. Anyone who wants to revisit that and has any nostalgia for cards or any slant toward collectibles, even without the nostalgia, like a lot of these people, I don't know what percentage, obviously, but like of the few million, it's easy to imagine 10 or 20% of these people will buy their first Pokemon card or first pack in a long time this year because of Pokopia. Pretty 20% conservative, maybe, but safe to say, no?
Absolutely. And who knows? Maybe it means Pokemon Go is going to have its day, the card set, because of those peelable dittos. You know what I'm saying? Maybe those are just going to spike in value.
Totally. Yeah. And someone mentioned this. This news is so new. I actually forgot to add it. I think it was my buddy Hellaloot here. Champions, the new, like a very accessible version of VGC, basically official Pokemon Showdown, using sliders to EV train your Pokemon, and I think it's mobile and Switch, and it's coming out in like a week or something. Like it was kind of a bit of a mic drop or whatever, like a bomb drop the other day. But yeah, a lot of things happening for 30th anniversary, and another area where it's like, you bet people are going to look at Pokemon cards again who have not in a long time.
Yeah, the franchise keeps doing this thing where like they come out with cool Pokemon sets and other really cool games and merch and collabs, and it just seems like they really know what they're doing. They haven't really missed
Not in a little while. Yeah, not in a little while. Cool. So that's video games. And then our third Hitmon topic here. One of the first things that's kind of very related to our main topic today, but First Partner Collection did release thoughts on these arts, thoughts on the item. I know it's I pulled this up as well. I don't actually MSRP, I want to say is like 20 something dollars for these, and they're selling at like 54. So I'm personally not really buying from like a collector or business standpoint just yet, but what do you think of these arts?
I absolutely love them, dude. Like these Gen 1s with like the kind of Game Boy art style buildings in the background and stuff. Yeah, look at that. You're like at the Pokemon Center or you're in Celadon or something. Like it's, you know, they know what they're doing with me. See, so on the Charmander, you've got the Indigo Plateau in the back. Yep. Look how sweet that is. Like,
and this little like the ghost.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. I'm so about it. Like, look at them just tying in so many like callback artworks. This specific artwork of the starters makes me kind of want to do like a little bit of a display where I get, because now that these have come out for Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, you could in theory have like 3 sets of all 3 starters, because you could go with the 151 illustration rares, the Stellar Crowns, and then the Charmander from Obsidian, and then you could go with these 3 and just have like all 3 of those. I would really dig that kind of set.
Agreed. Yep, agreed. Yeah, fun art. And actually, like, you know, it's kind of a bummer, obviously, like everything, it's getting scalped, which is cringe. But I like that it's accessible, you know, like it seems like people are not having too hard of a time getting them. I haven't checked actually the prices of the cards. I did see on Instagram, Hellaloot, like he opened 3 of these boxes and got I think all 9 of those arts. Like I think that you get 3 at random. So I think the odds of this are probably relatively low, but yeah, it's cool that like there's something to collect there that doesn't have to cost hundreds of dollars. Yeah.
No, they're super great. The only question is, are they going to make one for Brout and Pombon and what's the other one again?
Gekwa.
Gekwa, yeah. Wouldn't that just be great?
Yeah, we'll see, man. I'm sure they will do arts for those mons. I wonder if that'll come this year. Gen 10 is Gen 10 this year?
No, I think technically it's next year.
Okay, so it's probably not. It's not going to be part of this. That'd be surprising.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that wraps up for Hitmon topics. We're going to keep breezing through. We've got a new segment. I think
New segment.
A new segment. So this is called Plusle. Oh, I won't show this yet. Plusle or Minen.
Plusle or Minen.
Sponsored by our friends at Double Hollow. So one, sponsored segment. Two, you and I are minor shareholders in the company. We help direct we give a lot of feedback on how to make the app actually really good for vendors and collectors. So bear saying that because we've gone 18 episodes, we went 17 episodes before we did our first sponsor in this podcast. And so just being clear on that. So Plusle or Minen, do you want to explain Plusle or Minen to the chat before we ask the chat for their guesses here?
Yeah, so Plusle or Minen is where we pick two items. It could be cards or boxes. In this case, we've chosen cards and specifically a couple of special illustration rares. And the idea is we want the chat to guess before we show kind of the charts of how these cards are performing in relationship to some other cards or other sealed products that are just like them. See if you guys kind of have an idea of what's going on in the market right now. So the Plusle is the card that you think has performed better, and the Minen is the one that has performed worse. So in this example, we've got a Charizard from 151, the secret illustration rare, right, Ricky?
Yes.
And then we've got the Bubble Mew from Paldean Fates.
Yeah.
And we want to ask the chat, which of these two cards has performed better compared to other secret illustration rares in their same set? Is that right?
Yep, you nailed it. That's exactly right.
So for example, Charizard, has it performed better than things like the Blastoise, the Venusaur, Alakazam, Zapdos, etc., versus how the Mew has performed against the Charizard? And what are some of the other? There's just some trainers, right? The Gardevoir, and then some trainers. Okay, chat is saying Mew so far.
Yeah, so a lot of votes for Bubble Mew relative to other SIRs in its same set. Which one has performed better value-wise?
So far, unanimous on Mew.
Relative to we should be specific. I think we have a 90-day window on this. I will double check that. But yeah, no, we're talking near term, like within the last 30 to 90 days, not since they opened.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly 90 days. So enough time that there could be some big moves.
Okay. So just a quick thing that Double Hollow will show you is like how these cards sort of move together in terms of price. So these cards do tend to move together. Not surprising, right? They're hits from modern, same era. So specifically, we are looking at this versus rarity. So versus rarity versus other SIRs in Paldean Fates in the last 30 days. Sorry, 30-day price change. 24% up relative to other SIRs for Mew. 1.6% better for Charizard. So relative to other SIRs in the set, Bubble Mew is the better performer than the Charizard relative to other.
Yeah, Tiny Flame. Sorry, it's 30 days, not 90 on this one. You can click the 90 days, but we were looking at 30 days, and the result here, based on what you said, like 151 has performed really well, but like basically all of it has.
Yeah.
Almost all of 151 is just absolutely stonked in the last last month or so.
Mm-hmm.
And in Paldean Fates, it's like the Bubble Mew almost exclusively is the big mover.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. Like, so take what you will from that. Does that mean that the Bubble Mew is overvalued? Does it mean that the Gardevoir and Charizard are undervalued from Paldean Fates? Like, there's some things that you could maybe ask some additional questions and maybe find out some plays here.
Yeah, Jacoviak, I think Palawan Gates, I'm assuming like an autocorrect or something. Doesn't that just prove 151 is better received as a whole than Paldean Fates? I think that's a reasonable conclusion to draw here, that like Paldean Fates is very top heavy with this card, and that 151, like everyone wanted everything in 151. So yeah, and the kind of interesting thing here too is like if we look head to head, like in terms of percentage on a 30-day basis relative to their starting price 30 days ago, the Charizard is up more. But it's just like you said, it moved like completely in lockstep with everything else in its set. It's not just like a Charizard driven top. It's not just that this is the only chase card. Whereas I love the Gardevoir in this set. I think I like it better than the Bubble Mew. Is kind of maybe a slightly hot take, but I think it's a gorgeous card. And I'm not even like a huge Gardevoir fan, but yeah, it's obviously iconic card, and it is clearly like the winner of its set. So yeah, Palawan Gates. The new set coming out soon, but that's a Plusle or Minun. Thanks for playing, and we'll prompt it. We'll pick different cards or sets each time. I think there's a lot that you can compare in here, actually, not just cards, but yeah, like specific products like booster bundles and things like that. It just allows you to kind of do this little head to head. So
yeah, I'd be interested to even look at stuff like the Ascended Heroes ETB versus Pokemon Center ETB. I've heard a lot of buzz about the Pokemon Center ETB, like just outpacing. So like that's kind of stuff that you can look up here and like compare.
Yeah, I mean, we could just do it for do a quick one, not a deep dive, but yeah, that's right. So the Ascended PC ETB, last I checked, was coming up on 400.
Yeah,
and let's see. Oh, the PCETB is not in here yet. They haven't indexed to that data yet. So
okay.
There you go. So it's just a brand new box. So we don't have that data in here yet. But yeah, it's like $400. So the normal ETB at like 120 or so, relative to MSRP is what right now? Like 50?
MSRP would be 60 on an ETB, I think.
60 now. Okay. Yeah. And then for PCETB is only slightly more in terms of MSRP, right?
Oh no, that's wrong. The PCETB is 60. The regular should be 50, I think.
Somewhere that sounds more right. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, the Ascended PCETB at 400 blew our minds. We took one in at the show on Saturday, and I actually used that was part of JT's compensation for helping me out for the day. Actually, he's like, I want one of these. I've got one right behind me up here, actually, in an acrylic there.
Yeah.
And I think when I grabbed that a few days ago, it might have been like 300 or something along those lines. So it's yeah, very bizarre. So anyway, yeah, maybe probably in a couple of weeks that set will be in here. Maybe we do that comparison. But yeah, cool little like analysis features here in Double Hollow. So thanks to them for sponsoring that segment. Shall we move on? Someone earlier got a little mixed up and said, "Oh, Jake missed his Take a Chancey." Jake, we were talking about our notable deals, and there was sort of overlapped with Take a Chancey, but we are now going to discuss the Take a Chancey. So do you want to explain the Take a Chancey?
Yes, Take a Chancey is a relatively new segment where we talk about a play that we either are really considering making or one that we have made, but we don't know the result of it yet. So typically it's something that you attempt to buy with hopes to, resell and or to hold and then resell. And the idea is, we want to share kind of the risks that we're taking to see if they'll pay off or if we're going to get egg on our face.
Indeed.
Specifically a lucky egg.
Indeed. Oh, wow. A lucky egg. Yes. Wow, that's great. Lucky egg doubles your money and or something like that, right? Or if it's your lead Pokemon holding it.
That's exactly right. Is it an amulet coin or?
Oh, yeah. No, else? Amulet coin. What does lucky egg do?
I think it like increases your critical hit ratio or something like that.
Okay. Someone in the chat's going to have to like totally I don't know, like what's the word? What's the Gen Z slang for this? Like, I don't know, ball better than us.
Oh yeah, ball knowledge. Yeah,
someone's gonna
ball knowledge.
Yeah, JT says double XP. Okay. So, well, that's close. That still makes sense. So maybe
I might be thinking of Lucky Punch or something.
Okay, all right. Yeah, double XP. Okay, so before we do our new Take a Chancey. For folks that watched last week, I don't expect anyone to have memorized this, but I did tell you what my Take a Chanceys were, which were these PSA 9s that are fairly low pop and don't sell very often, and particularly where the 10 is like ultra rare, right? So it's like a lot. There's a lot of PSA 9 vintage cards where there's under 200 of them. The values right now are between like 1 and 5K, and then the PSA 10 is like pop 20, and it's like $25,000 in the current market. So I was playing around with some of these PSA 9s in particular. So just to take a little walk down memory lane, February 17th, this one sold from Italy, 2.9. This one from the UK, Shining Raichu PSA 9, Japanese for anyone that just listens to the pod. And then the most recent sale is 1.9 in the US, February 18th. I did take a best offer, but can you read for me here, please, Jake, who the seller of this was?
This looks to be Oyama's Trading.
Yes, I have heard of him. I've heard he's handsome. I did accept the best offer. It wasn't 4K. I had it listed at 4 and accepted a best offer. I want to say about 3.3. So I did pay really strong. I paid like 112% of average of last few sales to pick this card up. That was why it was such a take a chancey. But my thought was this card will sell a little over 3K probably. And it did. Super respected seller, fast shipping. Thank you. Thank you for the plug. Indeed, I am one of eBay's top rated sellers according to eBay.
Look at that. You're 100% positive. You're the 100%.
Guy. I am him. I am him, they say. So this isn't a crazy play. I paid like 25 and netted 28 or something like that. But it is still a good example of like I paid over recent sold by a lot. I paid like 50% more than the last sold and 112% of the last 3. And yet still came up like 15% or something. Quick math in my head, but there's these 10 to 20% plays. So for people who care about like that sort of thing, right? This is going to be my business now. This is my livelihood now. So just a small example. And I have a few others actually. I took a chancey at the show on a Blastoise Web Unlimited PSA 10, popped like 166. I think I've got it. It's a little far, but that day, the guy had a sticker on it for 3,200, and that was like last sold. And I paid like 85 or 90% of that because it was just the next low list was like 10K. It was just hard to tell if there's like much of a market for it. I have it up on eBay right now at like 6K, and I did get an offer at 5, and I actually countered it because I have another offer I'm working that I would net more in a trade plus cash situation. Someone said show that thing. I'll see if I can go grab it. It should be easy to find. Okay,
flex your Blastoise. Ricky, this is so cool that you are really putting this test to the test.
This card is awesome. It has a swirl in the upper left here too, not quite a full swirl. This is wild though, and it is about it's about twice as rare in Unlimited as first edition. So very, very cool card.
Yeah,
and
the e-reader strip on there, that's so cool.
I know, it's really cool. I do really like this card. So yeah, it was one of those where like at the show I was like 10K, make me an offer. I don't know, I'm a reasonable guy. I paid like, I don't know, under 3K I think for it. So yeah, so already got an offer where it'd be up like value wise more than 50%, and it was a take a chancey. It was a bit of a risk. I was paying, there was a sale like the day before or like really recently that was below what I paid. So another scenario where there was like a 2.4K sale relatively recently. And like, anyway, the guy was really reasonable and his sticker was not crazy. So anyway, yeah. So TBD on the final resolution with this one, but concretely got a 5K offer on eBay. I would net like 4.2 after shipping and fees on that. And then I'm working a deal that's about a 5K total cash and trade that I might take instead. So yeah, very, very cool card. And that's me wrapping up that. I didn't tell you I was going to do this. I kind of like totally hijacked the segment a little bit, but
something that I do. No, this is fascinating to me because I haven't been to a show in 8 days or 9 days. And I just feel so rusty, you know, it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if you need any lessons from yours truly, if you're feeling rusty, I've been to a show 5 days ago now, so I'm much more tapped into what the people want right now.
Yeah, I got to hit you up, get some game. My take a chancey was it like the card specifically was the Alakazam. That's the one that I am risking the numbers there again. Last sale, I think it was this month at 6.9 thousand. I bought it for 7,500, but then, since then we've had 2 weekends of tons of e-readers selling. I don't think the Alakazam specifically has comped, but a bunch of other Skyridge and Aquapolis hollows have like jumped up 20 to 50% over their last sales. And so I think I'm pretty safe on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what I'm going to ask. I'll have to look and, do some researching on what's happened in the market before I actually put a sticker on it for this coming weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to say that my take a chancey this time, and I want to maybe just couch this with, this is how I'm feeling right now. Maybe it'll change when I go to the next couple of shows over the next few weeks. But I think my chancey might be that I might be done taking these chances on the low pop cards for now.
Yeah. Interesting.
I might prefer to be in a cash position than in a I'm the highest ever payer on this card as far as I know position. I was okay with the Alakazam just because I still felt like there was a lot of room and the e-readers were like actively moving up. But yeah, I know that other people have like shared this sentiment that like, well, how much higher can it realistically go on kind of the low pop and vintage market for, especially for PSA 10 holo cards? And maybe it can keep going, but I am a little bit more risk averse. I think I'm going to try to play it safer with some other things that are going to be, smaller margins, smaller numbers, but I feel a little bit safer about. Now, if like a crazy cool card walks up to the table and I want it for me, ooh, I still don't know if I'd be willing to pay over public comps for it for me. And I do get a lot of those opportunities because there's a lot of people at these shows with cards that they're trying to sell for more than last comps, and they're cool and they're cards that I would like to own.
Yeah.
But I think I might be pumping the brakes on that personally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, particularly because you've already been playing. I think it's a little different when we're talking about like all these plays I'm describing that I'm talking about. It's like a 3K bet. Like a lot of these cards that I bought are about 3 for the most part. And I just think like I'll live if they come down 40, if I have to sell them 30-40% off of that number.
Yeah.
I lose a grand here and there. Like I will survive. It's a little different when we're talking about a $20,000 card that you pay 28 for, and then somebody else, you're kind of hoping somebody else is going to pay 36 and maybe not. Maybe the next person refuses to pay more than 17 and you're 11. It's like the absolute, even if a percentage is the same, the absolute dollar amount is kind of devastating. And the like really, it does just seem too wild, man. You and I were talking about some of these cards that were 4K a year ago and are 25K right now. That seems a little.
Yeah, and I mean, and some of the bigger sellers are getting these numbers and privately, right? So, like for example, I bought a Skyridge Machamp. I think I showed it on one of our episodes in December. A Skyridge Machamp Holo PSA 10 at LA Collecticon in December. I think I paid like 14 or 1500 or something like that on it, and that was right at, or maybe it's slightly above public comp average at that time. And I just saw one of the bigger like slab sellers list one on like one of the higher end Facebook groups for $10,000. And he probably won't get 10, maybe he will, but like let's say he gets like 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a 3.5-4x difference in what people would be willing to pay for that card since December.
Yeah.
Pop hasn't changed on that card. The only thing that's changed is attention.
Yeah.
And is it worth more than what I paid for it? Like intrinsically, yeah, I think it is. That's why I bought it.
Yeah.
But just like we see in all these other areas, when attention shifts onto something, it really rides up. And then when it shifts away, yes, there's new lows, but like there is some pullback.
Yeah.
There's some pullback for sure. And if you are the person who has a business of reselling, then I think you need to be cognizant of that. If you're buying it for collection purposes, I know I think it was Alex or no, Daniel here said, don't want to be caught with the hot potato. I understand this sentiment if you're in the business of flipping, right? And you think that the market has moved. But if you want this card for you and it's not the kind of thing that like you need the money to, do something else with, and it's for your collection, like I've bought cards at their all-time highs, and I might have felt in that first week, oh, I feel like it's hot potato. But then over time, it's moved and I don't feel that way anymore. Like my Crystal Guardians Charizard reverse that I bought back in September of 2024. I paid $3,000 for it. The last comp was $3,000. I paid full comp for it. And like back then, like I was like, oh man, like that's kind of a sunk cost. But now we are here today, and I got to think that card's worth well over 30 or 40,000. And yeah, so you just never know. Like maybe the hot potato idea is kind of like it's a temporary thing, because we all are believing that over the long term, these things are going to appreciate. So hot potato for your time horizon, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, right. 100%, particularly for things that were 4K a year ago and are 25K now. And if you're the guy who paid the highest ever 25K comp, it's like, there are people who did that in 2020 during that boom. And some of those items never returned, still have not returned to those values, if I'm not mistaken.
Some of them, yeah, some of them, but the vast majority have surpassed those highs.
Right. So it took 5 years, right? So it's sort of like, what is your role in how do you interact with the hobby again?
Yeah.
Totally fair. There's one more. I have a new take a chancey that I wanted to share. So I kind of close the loop on some of my other ones before we move on from this segment. This card is in the mail heading to me. The last public sale is Pop 34. The last and new cert. Last public sale, November 2nd for 1.5K. I paid 250% more than that.
So you paid 3 G's.
Little over 3. Yes.
Yeah.
The low list, it's Pop 34. Low list is $19,000. So, I mean, I don't think anyone's paying that. But this is a good example of like, I was really watching these. It was really about these sets. Like, Aquapolis and Skyridge. Yeah. There's just not a lot of these cards.
Yeah, and the boxes are just astronomically priced now.
They're like $200,000 for a sealed box now, something like that for a lot of these boxes.
Yeah.
There's just these pops aren't gonna go up much ever. Like there just aren't that many of this card in the world, and I think it's a freaking cool card. So picked it up, and this is a take a chancey. It's like worst case scenario is I get to own this card and I learn a little lesson, and whatever. If this one totally eats it and the other two that I just talked about were wins, and it kind of like cancels itself out, and then I just learned some stuff and I got to own those cards.
Are you down to kind of share some of the analysis you were thinking as far as like why you thought that was a good play?
Yeah. Yes, I get where this prompt is coming from. I texted you what I was looking at here. A lot of the bigger hits from these vintage sets, these PSA 10s, are up exactly 8.5x from what they were in November of last year. So when I looked at this card that sold for 1.5K, I didn't necessarily think, reverse holo. It's not comparable to Crystal Charizard or whatever, but like a lot of these, Dark Dragonite reverse, the Team Rocket Returns reverse PSA 10, the Dragonite Legendary Collection reverse PSA 10, all of those cards, like a lot of them, I shouldn't say all of them, a lot of them were exactly 8.5x what they were in November in terms of sales. So a lot of cards that were 3K in November that are 20K now, like exactly 8.5, roughly, something like that. So this, when I looked at it, I thought about 3x is my max. I'm willing to take that shot, and there's some upside there for me. I don't know. I'm not looking at this thinking 1.5K was the last sale in November. This card should be 10K by that same logic. I'm not really extrapolating it out to like cards that aren't like the chases of the era or whatever. But I just felt like cards like these were potentially undervalued.
Yeah, I completely agree. Did you do any like calculus between like sale prices of this reverse and sale prices of the hollow? And if there was maybe a recent comp on the hollow and kind of reverse engineer a potential value based on that ratio?
I didn't actually go that far with this specific card.
Yeah.
That there was slightly more YOLOing than that, though I still did the whole analysis I just talked about. But no, I mean, I was looking originally at the hollows, but a lot of them are already prohibitively expensive, extremely rare. And so I started just paying attention to these reverses. Like I have, I just generally have a lot of belief in the reverse. Like the reverse, again, these sets very rare, and the reverse was stamps in the Delta species sort of era. The reverse legendary collections, like a lot of them are hitting all-time highs. And when I look at the all-time highs they're hitting, these cards are, 2, 3, 4, 5K. And I'm like, well, if these other cards, if insert card here is a 100K card, if Crystal Lugia is a 95K card or whatever, if reverse hollow legendary collection Dragonite PSA 10 is a 20 plus K card, how isn't this like a 5 or 6K card?
Yeah.
That was just, I mean, it's sort of, that's about as far as I went, but yeah. People in the chat saying, I'm 2026 Ricky playing different this year. Oh, yeah, math is in level 3.
Yeah, you're built different this year, Ricky. I mean, you've the second you got off that Zoom call with your boss and were like, "Oh, I'm so out," you were like, "Okay, well now I'm just going to take this to level 9,000."
Yeah. Yes. Over 9,000 for sure. So yeah, no, I mean, look, it's like, just taking shots on these things, and enough of them work out that if some of them don't, it's like sort of fine. I'm willing to spend 1 or 2 hours and make no money net. I make 5K on one, whatever, 3K on one play here and lose 3K on another play here. And I actually didn't walk away with 0. I walked away with like information. So,
Yeah.
So it just sort of seems like worth it. And again, I'm playing in this primarily in this like 2 to 5K range. It's like just is very comfortable, like for the amount that I'm spending on them. It's like, what's the worst that can happen? They go down a little bit. I will survive that.
Yeah, and the actual and like what I responded when you sent me that message is the fact is
Yeah.
that you bought this card. So that comp is live. A take a chancey that I did in January. I bought 2 copies of the Dark Dragonite reverse hollow from Team Rocket Returns.
Yeah.
And one of them I bought for essentially, I mean, it was a trade at 15K value. And then I saw that there was one listed on eBay for 17, and I offered the guy 13 and he took it. And so I had 2 copies. I sold one of those copies later on, but I was basically hoping to be a part of the fact that I felt like this card was worth that 15 trade value.
Mm-hmm.
And so I bought the other copy that I thought I could, get for cheaper than that. Part of that is I get another copy. It just so happens that copy also has a swirl on it. So that's really nice. But then there's also the, that public comp out there. And not that I think it's necessarily the best play to like have all of your comps be on the internet and then try to talk other people into paying higher than what you just paid on the internet publicly. Like that sounds like in a market that is not booming like we are doing now, that sounds like an extremely losing strategy.
Totally.
But right now, like that's part of the story of that card now. And I'm pretty sure there's one at auction right now. And I'm going to check where it's at right this moment while we're live. It's in my watch list. Nice. Dark Dragonite reverse. It is at 22,500 with 3.5 days left.
Wow. There you go. Yep. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Like it is one of those things. You set the comp, it can be hard to lose. You're also right that I knew I was coming on the podcast and saying like I'm the guy who bought that card for that amount. So, but if you want the card or you think it's undervalued and you agree with my hypothesis, the last time somebody sold one was 5 months ago publicly.
Yeah.
So like I have one. What is it? What is that? Am I right? I have 3% of the entire population of that card when I own one, right? Like it's who else is selling one? I don't know. Maybe there is someone else. There is one other. There is a listing at $19,000. So I'm a
Sure. And I'm
reasonable
sure
buyer.
you would gladly take 18,000.
I would undercut that guy, no problem. 18K is yeah. No, look, I think if somebody, once I have that card and I'll list it up and stuff, like I think it's one of those I list on eBay at 7, expecting to get 5 or 6 or something, and at a show or on eBay, like I think it's reasonable. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm willing to be wrong. The card I was telling you about earlier is this one.
Oh yes, so tough.
So I had the Ho-Oh, I think, from Breakthrough. It's one of these sets. The texture on these cards is so good, and a lot of these cards are like relative to what we're talking about here. These $20,000 type numbers that we're like desensitized to. Some of these amazing XY era type cards are like $500,
Yeah.
$300, $600. Yeah. And so recently this card was under 1K. It's now comping above 1K. But when you showed this card a few weeks ago, I think you had one at your desk. I think you showed it on.
I have one still, yeah, on my PC.
Yeah. So you showed it, and in my head, I was like, what's that? Like a 10K card? It's so cool. Like how it's pop 393. It's not the rarest card in the world. But I was just thinking about this card, and I was like, these XY era cards are so cool, and I would like to own one of these in my PC. And I'm doing a very, very classic Ouya math play here.
I buy 2, sell 1 later.
I bought 3. And I'm going to sell exactly. I think this card is climbing, and it can go up to, I don't know, 2K even. Then I sell the other 2, and then the one that I have is free. Exactly, like to the dollar, or make $100 or something. Like, I don't care. I don't need to make $100. I just want this card for as little money as I can have it for, and I'm willing to like take a little shot on it. So I have 3 of these on the way to me right now.
This is one of the very few full art cards that looks excellent with a PSA label.
Because of the red matches.
Because the red and the black, like this, and then you put a nice ruby jewel graded guard on there. Oh my goodness!
Look at the texture on this card. The background on this thing is ridiculous.
It's so fierce.
It looks like a hand etched Swiss made watch or something. It's really cool.
I love that.
So I just love this card, and so yeah, someone asked me the other day. They're like, "Why?" I put out a bat signal on Instagram that I was buying this, and someone's like, why are you buying this? And I was like, because I like it. Like that is actually the core answer. 60% is I just like it, and I want to own it, and I want to own it before it goes up, if it does go up, and I think it might. And if it does, and I'm right, yeah, buy 3 of them, sell 2 when they go up a little bit. The third one's free.
I love this. I love this take a chancey Ricky mentality that we've got going on. This is so fun.
This is what you get, man. Full-time Ricky's taking swings.
It's literally double helix DNA texture. That's what it is.
I did not. Oh, that's even cooler.
That's so sick.
That's even cooler. Oh. Daniel Perez has been doing these like 2026 Ricky memes in the chat.
Yeah, it's because rest in peace to gosh, what's his name? Just passed away, the karate guy.
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris, yeah. You're the Chuck Norris of Pokemon.
Yeah. I don't bring a coat when I go out. If it's cold, it's cold. I don't blow my soup when I eat it. I just go in. I don't look both ways. I only look one way when I cross the road. I mean, look, I'm not going. I'm not YOLOing and not mortgaging the house. But yeah, your boy's making a few little plays, and it's been working out. I'll make some videos. Y'all know I like to be relatively transparent. The number's getting big enough now that I'm not going to give every number on my YouTube channel anymore. But yeah, it's going good, and I'm just having a blast. So I just think about this stuff all day long now.
Yeah, I love it, man. Yeah. It's fun to see you go that route. It's fun, because at the end of the day, like one of the reasons we like these cards, specifically the lower pop ones, is because they're a little bit more exclusive, and they have this, in this case, this great texture, and even if you pulled this card out of a pack today, you'd have a pretty low chance of getting a 10, and so you're willing to buy in that premium and to do the creative work that's necessary in order to like own that card for less than it's worth today. And that is a fun part of this hobby that I think a lot of people are either growing into or just maybe haven't realized yet.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed. Someone I was just looking in the chat at some of these. Yeah, Harrison's huddles like, I'm gonna go look for one. I promise this was not me. I'm not intending to pump the bags. This is an actual thing I did, and I did it quietly before. You know what I mean? Like now we're talking about it, but yeah, the double helix is awesome, and this is a good example. Like this whole era of cards, like the red Victini and the new black white rare, like those cards, you actually really do seeing them in person really does like sort of can change your perspective on what it's actually like seeing the flat card image on TCG Player or something is like really does not do some of these cards justice.
Yeah. Yeah. The BWR Zekrom is such a tough card in person.
It is.
It is one of the very few like new cards that I resolved that I had to have in my PC. And I feel the same way about the Reshiram and the Victini, and they're just they're so beautiful. So I totally agree.
Yep. Rar, it's not me saying so many XY cards like this are undervalued. Yeah, I mean that's just where I'm coming from. I bought a lot from some guy who reached out to me. It had a couple of these XY, like it had a Dragonite and a Ho-Oh, and I was like, "Yo, these are awesome." And then I'm looking up the comps, and they're like $325, $500. I know that those are still expensive, and like in reality, that is an expensive piece of cardboard. But relatively speaking to what everything else is doing right now, I do feel like they're undervalued.
Yeah.
Okay, that wraps us up for Into the Tall Grass. So like we said, you know, hobby hasn't changed surprisingly a ton in the last 2 weeks. So a little faster than we were. I think we spent like probably over an hour just in Hitmon Topics last stream.
Yeah.
Let's get into our main topic.
Let's get to our main topic. So the main question here, and I again, classic Jar Chomp used a little bit of clickbait in his title, but are the anniversary sets even good? Are was Generations, Celebrations, did they live up to the hype? Have they stood the test of time? Did they introduce some cool new ideas or cards or systems or anything? And what can that tell us about what we might get in the 30th anniversary? Because as of recording this podcast with you guys live, we don't really know anything specific about what it will definitely appear in that anniversary set. And so before we get like, credible leaks and stuff like that, I think it's fun to chat about.
Agreed. We've done a little bit of speculating on this in the past. I think I said something like, imagine if they put a new gold star in there that actually has like gold star pull rate instead of just being like really, really common or as a promo.
Yeah.
So it's fun things to talk about them. And yeah, Blast Boost is in the chat saying, hey, they're fun sets, but I'm not that in love with them. So Jake, your memory for this stuff tends to be really good. I opened a lot of Celebrations when I got back into the hobby. It had that sort of nostalgic fun to it, and it was still very accessible at like below MSRP type prices at that time.
Yeah.
I wasn't around for the Generation stuff, so I did set up. We'll get into Collector and take a closer look at this in a second, but I wasn't totally putting together in my own mind a lot of these cards that I'm very familiar with through vending that they belong to the Generation set, and also put it into perspective for me how small Celebrations is as a set.
Yeah.
So
yes.
What's your, like, without looking at it yet, what's your sort of like memory for these sets and like your sort of feelings about them?
Yeah, just right off the rip, I'll say that I really, really like Generations. I thought the product lineup was super cool. And you have to also include, in my mind, some of the video game stuff that they were doing around that same time. 20th anniversary, they introduced what is, in my opinion, probably the coolest video game console of all time, which is an exclusive new 3DS with a Charizard and a Blastoise shell, and like what the original red and blue version artworks of those two.
Nice.
And those consoles came pre-downloaded, like red version and blue version. And this was also back in the day where you could buy from the little eShop, like Crystal and Yellow and all those Game Boy games. So such a really cool thing happening back then. I also have a hard time like separating in English what came as promos for
Yeah.
generations.
Okay.
So, and I think I've showed these before in the stream, but that full art Blastoise, Charizard, Venusaur, and Pikachu that have other Pokemon in the background that come as collection box promos in English, those are pack pulls in the Japanese 20th anniversary. And they kind of serve as the main chase of the CP6 box, which is the 20th anniversary in Japanese. So in my mind, like, I have to include those promos that came out the same time as Generations as kind of like what was going down in that set. Because like in the Generations set, you've got like, you know, a Pikachu artwork, you've got a Charizard. I think you do have like a Mega Blastoise and Venusaur, like regular half arts, but you don't have these from the ETBs or the collection boxes. You had to get them as promos. And these cards, in my opinion, are some of the best Pokemon cards ever made. These 4 promos, Pikachu, Charizard, Blastoise. Now in Japanese, they have a golden border. In English, they have a black border with no texture. They are extremely hard to grade, and so like I guess to be fair, I shouldn't count like pop counts and like market value of these PSA 10s as part of our calculus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed Generations. When Celebrations came out, I did exactly what we think people would do when an anniversary set comes out, and it's to look back to the previous anniversary set. And that's when I started to really become aware of Generations.
Yeah.
I didn't start opening packs until like 2019. And already by then the Generations ETB was like $800 or $900 in this. So this would be in 2021. And it basically, what I'm trying to say there is, even in a time when a sealed product modern was like not necessarily something that was pumping, that ETB was very popular. The Generations ETB at the time that Celebrations came out. Now it's like almost $2,500 or something like that for an ETB of Generations. Anyways, I am a Generations enthusiast. The pack arts are so gas. The ETB comes with a beautiful sealed Shaman promo. I actually prefer the Mega Charizard in Generations to the one that you can get in Flashfire. So yeah, that's a lot to say that I'm a Generations fanboy.
A lot of knowledge dropped there that I didn't have. I don't think I've ever seen this gold border Japanese CP6 stuff.
Really?
I've seen the English art. I've owned the English copies of this.
Look at the Pikachu in person, dude. This is in my grading pile. Like it's so tough, dude.
This is another one of those things. Like, the worst thing about doing this podcast for me is almost every time you show me something and I'm like, I think I need to have that. Okay. Wow. Okay, cool. Yeah, I didn't know that about these Japanese versions of this.
Yeah.
So all this stuff from CP6, you in your head is part of Generations.
Yeah, I would say so. I think I'm comfortable saying that Generations and Evolutions are the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. Would the chat disagree with me on that?
Yeah, let's see what the chat
I want to hear
says
what the
there.
chat thinks. That Generations and Evolutions is essentially, they're both 20th anniversary sets.
While we're waiting on the chat there, let's sort of scroll through the English ones and make sure I got them all. I think I did, but got them all for Generations, and then we'll look at Celebrations. We are in this segment going to be using Collector to look at this, and Collector is sponsoring this segment. So
shout out Collector.
Thanks to them for sponsoring. And they were in the chat, I think, last time, dropping cool knowledge and data from their end. So maybe as we build this relationship with them, we can ask them maybe for data on ahead of some of these episodes and bring like really inside track interesting stuff to this pod. So should be fun. But okay, looking in the chat, a lot of agrees. No idea this set existed. Generations 100% totally agree. Thought of them both as 20th anniversary sets.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know we can look at it value wise. I think I have it pulled up under like portfolio here. It's sort of an unfair comparison because a Celebrations Master set is so small in terms of the number of cards. It's like 50 cards.
Okay.
There's probably a handful of promos or something that maybe I didn't like totally capture here. It's 185 in Generations if you count like the Radiant Collection piece of it, and if you count the
wow,
it's way bigger.
So like your per card value average is probably favoring Celebrations in that case, which I actually find surprising.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it. The quick math on that is about $12 a card in Celebrations is the average, just 620 divided by 50.
Yeah.
And then for this Generations, just look at the English stuff that's really like, in collector as the sort of core sets, $8 a card.
Yeah.
Divided by 185. But this is including like energy cards and stuff. I don't actually like, we'll take a deeper dive on it in just a second, but
that's a good point. Yeah. Cause there's quite a bit more to Generations. Celebrations was like a pure, at least half of it, right, was just pure reprints.
Yes. So in collector, they differentiate those as like classic collection versus Celebrations.
Yeah.
So that's how they've sort of like delineated that. So obviously we've got like, never before seen reprint of the base set Charizard art. first time they've ever done it.
So glad they tried that one time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it worked. I'm surprised they don't keep going back to it because it was popular, but like a very nostalgic throwback. One of the things I think is cool with Celebrations is for one, like some of the throwback to like the really schoolyard stuff, like this birthday Pikachu. I wanted one of these so bad in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, to write your name on it.
No, of course. And they were just, I forget what the circumstances were to get them, but so hard to find. And then nods to things like, I think this Prime Donphan, and there's a clay doll in here that were very meta for the TCG, like early days.
Yeah, same thing with the Tapu Lele and that Mega Rayquaza. So there's like some big playables in here.
Yeah, which is cool.
And they also I think they tried to do an ode to like most of the gimmicks that they've done. So you've got a dark card, a prime, you've got a level X,
true,
a lot of that kind of stuff. So kind of like a I don't know, like a survey almost of what has occurred in the TCG in 25 years.
Delta Species, Gardevoir. Maybe it's a very cheap card. I think there was a prime that they issued as like new, right?
Yeah, there's a Dragapult Prime promo.
Yeah. Why am I like just missing it somehow?
Well, it's technically not in the set. It's a promo. So it came in a collection with a tiny little Dragapult binder, and wasn't something you could pull from a pack.
Okay. So yeah, look, it's a very focused, like the bulk cards are these legendaries that do have cool arts, but if you open Celebrations, you get 2 of these it's like every pack is just full of them.
Yeah.
So you do end up with like, 100 of these Lugias if you open a few of these packs, but yeah, there's no energies and stuff. So that's kind of why like even the per card, like we could probably sort of get a more pure look at it, but like Generations, 185 cards, including reverse holo energies, regular energies, commons, and reverse holos of those commons. Just looking at Generations though, like I was surprised how many of these commons have great art. Look at this Machop.
Yeah, well, there's like an iconic Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard trio in this set that I'm pretty sure are technically all Radiant cards. And they have like really cool little like medallions and like a story between the 3 cards that people really, really love to collect.
Nice.
I also there's a really popular Gengar in Generations, like a holo and a reverse holo. That's really nice. But one thing I was thinking about, look at that.
Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about is that in the 20th anniversary, all of your reprints occur in evolutions rather than in Generations, at least in English. But in Celebrations era and 25th anniversary, all of the reprints happen in the anniversary set itself, in the specialty set. And so maybe like sometimes maybe we'll remember them differently because we're thinking about, oh, well, Generations introduced all these beautiful new artworks and things we had never seen. But what we should be comparing Celebrations to is Evolutions. And at the time, a lot of people did not like Evolutions. They did not like the how they like, the, I guess, comparative cheap look of the skinnier yellow border compared to the thick yellow border that you would get on an actual vintage card.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of hate. And the other thing that the Pokemon Company did is that they printed this set and reprinted it and reprinted it and reprinted it so much. Like there's like tons of Sword and Shield products that have Evolutions packs still seated in them, 5 years later. So it is kind of, it was a divisive set at the time. I personally was actually brought back to the card hobby because of this set. Like I got reinterested in Pokemon when I saw Leonhardt opening some Evolutions on his channel. And that was like the first thing of like, oh wow, like this is Pokemon cards are still a thing.
Yeah. I mean, these full art, these two full arts are really cool.
So tough.
Very, very tough. And kind of similar with when you look at, I think was it your brother said it in the chat? The Generations doesn't have a Moltres. It has these two, but not Moltres.
I know. It's a huge miss.
That's so mean to my boy which look, listen, I don't know how hot of a take it is. Moltres is the least interesting design of the three birds.
Sure.
But still, come on, what they do to my boy Moltres? These two cards are amazing.
Yeah.
Moltres one would have looked awesome with the red. It would have, the contrast to these two colors, it would have looked so good.
Completely agree. I have no idea what they were thinking.
What were they thinking?
Yeah.
2026 Pokemon Company would never.
One thing they do in this Generation set, go back to that Gardevoir card, the Mega Gardevoir.
In Generations?
Yeah. So right here on the right.
This one, yeah.
So this card is so tight. And I think it's kind of like this. And maybe correct me if I'm wrong, chat. I think this is the first time that they had the Mega Regular and then the Shiny in the same card, which they've now kind of harkened back to with our most recent Mega Evolutions. Some of our chase cards, like the Charizard, does that. And I think, no, is that the only other one that does that? I thought there was more.
Someone in the chat's going to know. The chat's been blowing up with like a lot of really good niche information. Yeah. I'm always sort of, I shouldn't be, but I'm always like impressed. I get more impressed with our chat every time we stream. Apparently Moltres got his own collection box in this era.
But not a full art. It got an EX maybe, but not a full art EX. Yeah.
So maybe someone in the chat can let us know on that. But yeah, I mean, I do buy that this must be one of the very early, if not the first, with the shiny variant also in the card with it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I do love this. I have a distinct memory of like when I was kind of starting to do more local shows and vending. I did a deal on this Flareon card. It was a PSA 10. The guy had just graded it, gotten it back from PSA. I think I moved it at the next show for like $450 or something, and now I think it's got to be like well over $3,000 or $4,000. Just a classic Jarchomp L.
Yeah. I love to say, well, think about what you did with that money. But yeah, I think we talked about this in one of the recent streams with my your Gold Star Mewtwo and my base set Japanese Charizard and selling it for 4K, and now it's like 20, and it's like I probably have to work really hard to turn 4K into 20.
I think it's like 32 now. I hope that makes you feel better.
Oh my god, why would you tell me that?
Yeah, I also think that my Mewtwo is like over 100 now.
Okay. Okay, I hate that for us.
I like legitimately missed out on an entire like house down payment by selling that card. It's horrible. Okay, here's the Charmander Charmeleon. You just had him on screen.
Yep. These guys. Yeah. And the Charizard, obviously, that kind of goes with it, right? Another one of those story cards. Somebody came to my table collecting these.
Yeah. And the pictures actually don't do a lot of these
Hollow.
cards justice. A
Yeah.
lot of these what are they called? Radiant
Rating
collection
collection. Yeah.
cards. They have like a really cool reverse hollow pattern.
Yeah.
That's custom to that card. Like we just had the Jirachi the other day on stream, and it's got like a beautiful kind of like rainbow pattern going on. Yeah, this one has snowflakes. So
I
super cool cards.
think the Japanese version of this, I don't know if it's also called Radiant, but it has almost like the Koro Mew style hollow on it. It's not gonna, I'm not putting in the right words, but it has a different hollow pattern in Japanese. It's like, I want to say it's like glossier and sparklier. But yeah, very cool, cute cards, nice story art for being half arts. Yeah, very cool. Here we go back to collector. Yeah. Okay. So like as we're thinking through before we talk about maybe what's coming up this year for 30th. Oh, Pokekune. Thank you. That is what they're called. Thank you. Let's look at it.
Oh, that's right. Pokekune had all these radiant cards.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, the Pikachu Pokekune is so. I think I have a copy of it here. I have to grab it.
Yeah. See, it has this full card like hollow on it, kind of like the Koromew and the Japanese Shining Carp and Gary.
Yes. I'm sorry. I need to find this Pikachu that I have.
It's a Pikachu Pokekune.
Yes. So it's the version that came to Generations where all the Pikachus are stacked on top of each other.
This one.
Yes. But oh my gosh, yes. Look, the Japanese one has like a full like kind of reflection thing happening, like glitter all over it. And the border is full silver. It's just such a beautiful card. Oh my gosh.
You got some hot Japanese cards in your little grading pile there, my guy.
do. I surely do. I gotta muster up the I guess the bankroll to send them to PSA now that it's like $1 million per card.
Yes. Well, I'm sure you'll be okay. I can give you like a 10K loan at like 40 or 50% a month if you want to do that.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, it would be my first time ever taking a loan from a best friend, so I trust the terms.
You consider me a best friend?
You're my only friend.
Okay, well that's dark. You should have more friends than just me.
Yeah.
No, I do consider you one of my close friends. I say as much in a video that's coming out on Monday, actually.
Oh.
So we have become very good friends. You know, it was there was a week, maybe that week that you did the Q&A where you had maybe two traveling shows and I was really busy and you and I didn't actually jump on a face-to-face call for like 8 days. And
for the first time we missed each other for a whole week for the first time in like 9 months.
It truly felt like my life was just a tiny bit empty. Like there was a jar chomp shaped hole in that week that I was definitely missing. Man.
Hashtag jar chomp shaped hole.
Yeah, maybe we don't. Maybe I on my last stream where JT and I were selling some cards, there was a Suicune that had a swirl on its back, and he said "Baby got back swirl."
Nice.
We were like, make that into a shirt, but it's diabolical. It lives rent free in my head. Twice a day, I think "Baby got back swirl."
Yeah, Baby Got Back Swirl, that would probably sell a million t-shirts, so you should get that going.
Perfect. Yes, I will absolutely. We'll get that going right after we do the Make Your Money While You're Alive, and we're all on the spectrum of health t-shirts going.
Yeah, those ones are only going to sell to this chat. Baby Got Back Swirl is going to be a worldwide phenomenon.
Oh, baby. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So anyway, as we're looking at these sets, like I think when we had Danny Phantom on, we had celebrations and a tier list and we all rated it pretty highly as like a fun set to revisit and open.
Yes.
In looking at it, I did feel like Generations is better, cooler.
I have more fun opening Generations. Yes. Let me add one thing though, and I don't think Generations did this. In every Celebrations product that you got, you also got other booster packs from the Sword and Shield generation.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like a bonus. And I think
Yeah.
that like they did that because like, yes, this is a small subset of celebrations, kind of like, you know, we'll add some packs in there,
Yeah.
but also all of your products are going to have other stuff. So like, for example, in the ultra premium collection, that one that comes with those metal cards,
Yeah.
which by the way, maybe we should touch on that. The metal card promos,
Yes.
first ever Pokemon official metal cards, as far as I know. This Charizard and Pikachu, and these are now crazy expensive. I think the Charizard's well over $10,000 in a 10 right now.
Really?
Yes, and the Pikachu's like 8 or 9 or some insane number. Anyways, in that UPC, which in my opinion is one of the best products the company has ever made, like the quality of the cardboard, and it had those little drawers. It came with an awesome Charizard pin and a metal coin. You got 25 booster packs to celebrate the 25th anniversary. So I think it was like 16 or 15 celebrations packs, and then the rest of the 25 were made up of you know, kind of again a smattering of Sword and Shield stuff. And I mean, at retail, again, it was impossible to get that box at retail. I think I was able to get one of those at retail, which was so exciting. But at retail, $120, metal promos, gold Pikachu and gold Pokeball regular card promos, the awesome Charizard pin, and 25 booster packs for $120. Like, that was a juiced box.
Fun way to spend $120. Yeah, I mean, that was our experience with celebrations too. Again, it's probably the set my wife and I opened the most when we got back. If anyone, now that you've pumped to the bags, I have a box of this that I'm actually looking to sell. It has a tear in the front though, so if anyone wants to open it and wants like 20% off of market, I'm down to sell it.
Wait a second, you're hawking your goods live for the internet? I didn't know I signed up for that.
What are you talking about? We talked about 2026. I'm full time now. I got bills to pay.
No, Ricky, I'll buy your box for 80%. Don't worry.
Okay, great, done deal. You all saw it here live. No, that is awesome though, and that I didn't realize that there was that many packs. I mean, the celebrations packs are really small too, right? There's like 4 cards in it or something.
Yes.
But yeah, very fun. That's why. What is the gem rate? Just absurdly low on these metal cards.
The story here was that again, there's a metal card, so they're much thicker than a regular card stock, right? So when they were first being sent into PSA, they didn't have the holder that would fit them, and so they were damaging them in the regular holder, and so they paused for a while and didn't accept submissions. And so like for a period of like maybe 5 or 6 months, there was like this belief that PSA was never going to grade more of them. And so the Charizard just like absolutely spiked in price. But then they came out with a holder that fits them, and they put them in this little like plastic cellophane kind of baggie, and then holder that. And so now you can grade them again now, but they are super low pop because I think they grade them based on like paint completeness and centering. And there's a lot of these that have paint chips on the back because the back is a pretty traditional blue Pokeball paint on metal.
Yep. If I don't know if we maybe later when we have time or in the Q&A or something, I can rifle through. I have a Pikachu that has a chip in the bottom right corner in the back. Yeah, that's right. And now as soon as you said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that lore about them not grading them for a little while.
Yeah. Such a great card. I owned a PSA 10 copy of this 2 different times. One of them I paid, I think, $1,300 for, and once again sold it for probably like 20% of what it's worth today. Just another classic Jar Chomp L.
You got to put a video out about it so I can comment. I'm starting to think this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
Oh, I love that, dude. Like, yes, I got so many of those comments on the fake Evo Skies box. People were like, does this guy even know what he's doing? He's just an idiot and just buys stuff, doesn't he?
As if you're not literally doing like 5,000 transactions a year, and you're posting the 3 most noteworthy L's for everyone to learn.
I think honestly it's more like 15 or 20,000 transactions a year, and I'm taking some pretty healthy L's here and there, let's say.
Yeah, it's net W's, right?
Yes, we're netting W's. Otherwise, this isn't much of a business, is it?
Yeah, moving your sister and hiring her would be maybe a not the best decision.
Yeah, she probably thought, well, maybe I shouldn't work for Jake because all he does is buy fake stuff and get scammed.
All he does. It's exclusively all he does. And he and PSA also booms him on the reholders. It's all he does. All he does is get destroyed by PSA, buy fake boxes.
God.
This guy has no idea what he's talking about.
Oh, that Venusaur, no lie, is worth like 20 times what I paid for it.
You got to go try to get an NDA signed. A photo of you, just you.
maybe if I send PSA a picture of some of my enormous guns,
yeah,
maybe they'd be down for that.
I'd love, dude. Nothing would really bring me joy like you posting a sleeveless photo of yourself saying PSA has rectified the legendary reverse Venusaur problem, and I will not be taking questions.
Yeah. Thanks for the reminder here, Alex. I definitely included the fact that I lost like $2,000 on that Mew as well. That's always in my heart. In fact, I still have that fake copy. It is enshrined on my desk at my house.
I love it. And obviously, it's fun. We can joke about this with this group because our chat and the people who watch this understand nuance, and they understand that we're just having a laugh at the fact that actually, in reality, what you're doing, in my opinion, is a great community service to try to help other people avoid the mistakes that you've made by essentially risking embarrassment and criticism yourself. It's I don't want to say martyrdom, but like it's a cool thing you're doing, only to have some people tell you that maybe this guy's an absolute idiot and a fraud.
Did this guy not consider when he made this video that it might make him look bad? What? So dumb.
All right, okay. So anyway, let's get back to Collector here. So celebrations, generations, cool. I mean, like, look, at the end of the day, whether you like one set more than the other or whatever, they tend to they have a good track record here of doing cool things for these anniversaries. Any like actual real concrete predictions now? Like, what do you think they're gonna? What well are they going back to for 30th? And then what are they gonna like? What's the up the ante thing that they're gonna hit, or the nostalgic thing they're gonna hit this year?
I got perfect answers for both of these questions. Great questions, by the way. Answer number one: we're not going into the answer to your question blindly, right? So they have given us like a teaser at what was it, Worlds or wherever it was, but they gave us a teaser. No, it was on Pokemon Day, of what might be the theme of 30th anniversary, and they've given us kind of a graphic of a bunch of the kind of more gimmicks that they're like highlighting maybe. So they showed like a GX tag team card, and they showed a Crystal Lugia and some other stuff. And it kind of was reminiscent of something similar that they did in Celebrations, where they kind of highlighted one of their gimmicks or one of the battle mechanics from the TCG into the card game, and kind of, again, shined a light on that idea. I think that they might do some of that again based on what they've showed us. They also showed a Mew and a Mewtwo card that looked like they probably had some sort of like unique holo pattern. And so I think that there's a possibility that we get a unique rarity type of kind of like an iridescent holo pattern, something that I think would be on the same level as like the BWR and the what is it? What's the Reshiram?
BWR.
They're both BWRs. Okay.
So, black, white,
so
rare,
something reminiscent of that, where they have like a a unique card foil type just for those chase cards in that set or something like that. I think that that's very possible. So that's what I based on the leak, not the leaks, but based on their graphic video, I'm feeling that that's what they will probably do. But as far as stuff that they've done in the past that maybe other people aren't thinking about as much, in Celebrations, they did that gorgeous Pikachu card where it was like a full art version of the base set Pikachu with all of the leafage and greenery in the background.
Yep.
And it's basically like a trainer gallery style of card from Sword and Shield, where you have a yellow border, but there's no texture, full art. I think there's a good chance that we get more of these kinds of things. We get more like classic artworks made into modern card styles.
Great take. I love that take. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you? What are you thinking?
So I've been really curious about, people in the chat have been talking about this, and I don't know if there was like something that was leaked. I didn't look into it, but the idea of like Topps Chrome 30th anniversary or like some sort of Chrome revisit would be really, really interesting. I could see it. Like those cards have their place in TCG history. I mean, they're not terribly popular now, obviously, and a lot of newer folks probably aren't even like aware of them or familiar with them. But certainly around that time, like I think I remember thinking of them as like not like the mainline Pokemon cards. Obviously, they weren't base set, Jungle, Fossil, those kinds of. They weren't the WotC cards, but they were like everyone knew of them as like, and had them as these like also another legitimate type of Pokemon card. And this, I think this stuff is very common in sports cards, right? There's a lot of different companies that do legitimate sports cards. It's not just like obviously controlled by one organization or whatever. So I don't know. I need to look at like if there was a video or something, or if it's anything more than rumors, if something was like truly hinted at. But sounds really cool. If that's the case, that would be fun.
I love this idea. Topps Pokemon jersey pieces. Maybe we get like pieces of like Pikachu's actual fur in the card. Like,
how do they? No, I hate that. How did they harvest the fur?
Like a piece of leather from like a real Wailord, like real blubber included in the card.
I hate this. This is. Isn't there one episode of Pokemon where Brock says something like, "Yeah, let's eat our Miltank burgers," and everyone's like, "Bro."
Yeah, and Magikarp are getting chomped on all the time for sure. Sushi does.
It's just like thousands of episodes where they just pretend. But then anyway, no, I really hate the Pikachu's fur and Wailord leather idea. Really, really hate that.
Okay, yeah, maybe that wasn't the right take.
The autos is cool. Yeah, Pikachu's autograph, Pikachu's little paw print.
Okay, I feel like there were some leaks of like specific collabs on Topps branded Pokemon cards with voice actors' signatures on them, like official through the Pokemon company. I feel like I did see something like that. I don't know if it was real.
Okay. So Tiny Flame is saying there was a video that Pokemon put out that at the end there was a shinier chrome looking Mewtwo. Yeah, okay.
Yes. So that's the leak they put out on Pokemon Day.
Yeah.
Or not the leak, again, the teaser.
Right. Interesting. Cool. Yeah, I mean, other than that, I like your take about the kind of full art thing. I could see them in Celebrations. They didn't really go deep on some of the like XY black white era stuff, right? There were some of the playables that got repeated, but like it would be interesting to see some of those like full art deep textured style revisited in some capacity or reissued in some capacity. It could be interesting. Wind Waker's asking about serialized. I saw someone else also say serialized. I don't, maybe someday, but I would be very surprised if this year they introduced serialized.
Yeah, I think the Pokemon Company is willing to do limited print in other ways. but there's like, I mean, there is, I guess, evidence of serialized Pokemon licensed items, right? So like some of those Wand Company Pokeballs, or like that pinball machine that came out recently, there was like a serialized version of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I don't think that was like a Pokemon decision. I think that was probably the other company that was producing it, trying to make it more unique.
Yeah.
Pokemon Pokemon does put out statues on Pokemon Center that are serialized.
They put out statues?
You know, like some of the big figures. Oh, actually, I legit have one. Here, let me move some stuff around and I'll show you guys. So this statue right here, this Garchomp, it came on Pokemon Center. I'm pretty sure if I look on the bottom, yeah, this was number 0873. I think there were like 1,000 of them created or something like that.
Huh. Interesting.
So the Pokemon Company does do some serialized stuff now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, interesting.
Very but interesting. Cards, I don't know. know. The fact that they haven't done one up until now makes me feel like they either feel like there's a good reason not to, or it's like an ace up their sleeve that they don't want to have to use.
Yeah, makes sense. Harrison Tuttle here saying, and this is something I've said before as well, Shinings or e-readers, like the Shinings from that, like it would be cool to issue a new Shining in that same style with the foil, that foil style. That would be very cool.
Yeah,
I'm sure they would
only the Pokemon is hollow. That's great.
I'm sure they would ruin it. The Pikachu stamp would be there, the 30th anniversary. How do we feel about that stamp?
Everyone hates it. I mean, the Japanese one with the actual number is so much nicer.
Totally agree. Yeah, it looks way cooler. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. Yeah, so crystals. Yeah, I that's exactly what I'd say. It was like gold stars, crystals, but particularly would be interesting if they introduced them at the rarity, like at the low pull rates of these cards from that era. Obviously, they did go to the gold star thing, but like the Greninja was a promo. The Umbreon was not terribly hard to get. So
yeah,
I mean, I think gold stars in that era was extremely low. So maybe like oppressively maybe lower than it needs to be. Like it was like 0.2% or something ridiculous for certain cards. Maybe not quite that brutal, but yeah, it would be cool to go back to that. Particularly now. And I don't know how much a Pokemon Company necessarily cares about this stuff, but like when you like the crystal, some of these cards are getting prohibitively expensive for collectors to access, and they've never reissued like the Aquapolis Crystal Lugia, like some of those things getting reissued, even if it's got the ugly stamp on it, but it's got a similar holo and the same art and the e-reader border and stuff. That would be cool to have a $40 version of that for people to enjoy an official version of it without, like the even damaged versions of that card, I think are like $2,500 now or something. Like it just, a normal person can't have them anymore.
Wouldn't it be so cool if they, instead of putting like a big yellow Pikachu stamp, that they would do like kind of like an embossed stamp, kind of like how they do that little Pokemon symbol on the Chinese cards in the bottom corner. Like cool. give me something like that where it's like an imprint and not super obvious, Yeah. Please.
Yeah, that would be cool too. Well, too late for that, but maybe 35th they'll listen to us. I was sort of shocked to see that the 30th was the same Pikachu logo with a 3, with 30. I was like, what? Like, what? Why? You guys thought that was? I
completely agree. I thought it was a spoof. I was like, no, this can't be real.
Literally, because it was the first partner arts came out. Like they were, I don't know if it was a leak or if it was intentional. Those arts came out and people were like, are these real? And a lot of people were like, I mean, bro, it has look at the stamp. Like somebody just photoshopped this.
Yeah. Yeah, no good.
Someone said something like, imagine full art textured with the Sugimori arts. I mean, imagine this Charizard as a textured like XY era style textured full art card. That would be.
I would back up the truck for that, dude. Like we need an English version of the Sugimori Charizard so bad.
Yeah. Gosh, that is so in the realm of possibility. Like that is exactly the kind of thing they would do. They're leaning hard this year. I think I wasn't around for 25th, but looking at the products and stuff, y'all tell me in the chat if I'm wrong, if you're around for celebrations. I feel like they're leaning really hard this year into the very nostalgic art, right? Like some of the merch had the opening fight scene from the Game Boy games and stuff. A lot of the promo has like the original very chubby Pikachu. Like they're definitely harking back to their roots in a very deliberate way right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're not afraid to do some cool reprint stuff and some nostalgic stuff. We know that for sure. I have high hopes. No matter what they do, some people will be disappointed. I personally had like a ball of a time with Celebrations when it came out. So I imagine it'll be the same for this. I'll
Yeah.
be really excited about it. What I'm also really hoping for an exclusive Pokemon Switch 2, like with an anniversary style on it or something. I would love that. So
Yeah. Wind Waker was just 10 seconds ahead of you on that same take. A cool Pokemon theme Switch 2 for the 30th would be cool.
oh yeah. Yeah, big time.
And we did. Blast Boost probably already left, but he'll catch us on the replay. $20 super chat and just good vibe. So thanks for being here. Always, Blast Boost.
Thanks, Blast Boost.
All right, man. Just under 2 hours. It's like exactly what we said. I think a good time maybe for us to start shifting our focus, unless there's anything else you want to say on the main topic.
Nope. I think at the end of the day, they showed us some stuff that there's a good chance we'll get into the set. I think that Mew and Mewtwo are pretty much locked somehow to have like a unique chrome texture. And we're going to get a bunch of cards with big Pikachu 30th anniversary stamps on them. That's probably what's going to happen.
And we will empty our wallets for them.
Yes. And finding them at retail will be highly questionable.
Yeah, unfortunately. Gosh. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this, I just thought of this. Maybe they're not doing all these booster box reprints for these sets that we should have gotten big reprints for, because they are just going burr on the 30th anniversary stuff.
I believe it. I mean, they printed Celebrations pretty seriously, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, which is great. Like I said, when I got back into the hobby, it was part of our experience for that to be fairly accessible.
Yeah.
So.
I had so much fun putting together my master set. I'm pretty sure I made it a goal to pull every card from Celebrations. And if they just print an absolute truckload of it, then I'll get to do that again. That'll be nice.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So 31 stars already from throughout the day. Some of them were just things people were saying, so it's probably more like 20 questions. But let's shift over to the Q&A. And again, folks, today, a nice light main topic there. Thanks to Collector for helping sponsor that. We'll spend, until we get tired, maybe an hour, give or take. We'll see how we're doing on questions, but maybe we just start digging in. And folks in the chat, if you want to start asking some more questions,
let's do it. I'll lean back even, I'll make myself comfortable just in case.
Maybe I will too. There we go. Wow. We're looking relaxed. Okay. So the Thick Boy, and I might have you answer this so I can run to the restroom, and if you need to switch, we can totally do that. The Thick Boy says, doing my first vending show this weekend at Westgate in San Jose. That is my hood. Any advice? So I might have some specific advice for the venue, but if you have general vending advice to start, I'd love to hear from you on that.
Yeah, pretty classic advice for your first time. I would say price all of your items within 48 hours of the show, Thursday or Friday before the show starts. I would have everything priced. I would make a point to, try to stand up when you're at the table and to greet people and to, talk to them and get to know them. A lot of the local shows that I did when I was getting started, I was able to create kind of like a collection of return buyers, because I was able to get to know them, and figure out what they were collecting. So if someone was like, oh, I'm looking for all of the Delta Species cards, or all the Zapdos cards, or all of the, I have, people who are looking for like megas or something like that. The only way you can get to know those people is if you ask them questions and you're genuinely curious about that. So chat with the patrons that come up to the table. And then the last thing I would just say is be really careful and safe. Keep an eye on all your stuff. Unfortunately, we do exist in a time when people are getting robbed, and crimes of opportunity are happening frequently at shows and at stores and things like that. So have all your stuff buttoned up and safe.
I have a very specific one for Westgate, but to make it interesting for the like 15,000 people that'll listen to it and have no idea about this place, it is one of those malls that has like skylights. And so sometimes, depending on where you are, there will be crazy glare on your cases. And so consider bringing something to like elevate your cases toward the people that are walking by. It can help a lot with the glare. So just be aware of that. It very depends on your position, but applies to like mall shows around the world where they have that skylight. And sometimes you are just baking in a greenhouse, and sometimes you're just in like a dark, dingy corner of the mall. So you kind of have to like, it's just a really non-obvious thing about working these mall shows is the lighting.
Yeah, great point. Also, just quick heads up, Ricky, I think I'm going to like do my best to keep my answers succinct as I can, just because we're getting a lot of questions. I want to get to as many as possible.
Agreed. Let's do it. Hello Loot asked, do I still tie my binders to my table? I've actually just moved away from binders altogether. So yeah, that's basically it. But I would if I did. Okay, here's one. Krabby's Cards. Jake, I thoroughly enjoyed your video. The eternal struggle is deciding what is true PC and what is inventory when you've been a collector for 10 years trying to start a business. Tips.
There's no perfect answer to when is the right time to sell a card that I have an emotional connection to. I would say the thought process you should go through in your head, and we talked about this during my Q&A a couple weeks ago, is if you sell a card that you have and you've maybe had it for a while and you have a connection to it and you got it for much cheaper than it's worth today, for example, do you feel like there's a realistic chance that you would want to reacquire it again in the future? Like, can you imagine yourself wanting to rebuy it? And if so, what do you feel like is the chance that you're going to be able to rebuy it anywhere near to the price you got it for back in the day? Most likely a lot, especially for a lot of this vintage stuff. Like I mentioned 2 or 3 cards here already that I sold that are now worth literally 10 times what they're worth. They're worth 10 times more now than they were then. And I can't justify buying those again for my PC. My price memory is just giving me utter block in my brain for doing that. And so, yeah, that's just where it is for those cards. So if you really like it and you have it for a fair number, just, maybe go a couple more shows before you decide to put it in your inventory for selling, and see if you can just, work the business to the point where you don't have to you don't have to add that thing. You do enough good deals, you buy enough collections, you hustle your way out of needing to sell that card. Maybe try that.
Love it. Harrison Tuttle with a $5 super chat. Thanks for that. I guess it's been a long time since we said this explicitly. With the Q&As, you never need the super chat to get answered a question. Super chat does not guarantee that we'll answer the question. But we appreciate it. And when we have an extended period of time like this, like folks that are supporting us this way, we'll try to make sure to prioritize when we can, for sure. So thanks for that, Harrison Tuttle. As a small vendor trying to catch traffic towards your table, do you think having niche or rare cards is worth it to stand out?
Yes.
Generally, the answer is yes, maybe with the asterisk, the nuance of depends if that's something that you actually are passionate about and enjoy, right? Like, I think the flip side of that, though, is that as the hobby ebbs and flows, like there's a lot of vendors in there with the very commodity, very high population modern cards. So at that point, if it's not relationships or a content following, it's just about like kind of who has the mintiest copy or who has the cheapest price or who has the best position in the venue. Yeah. And a lot of those things are things that are very hard for you to kind of control for. So they tend to put a lot of pressure on your margins. So yes, if you're trying to catch traffic towards your table, what you have on your table signals also what you're interested in buying and trading. So sometimes people come by and see what you're working with and say, hey, this guy works with insert thing here, high-end cards, gold stars, vintage, whatever. That's what I'm looking for, somebody who understands how to value that today. So the short answer is definitely yes, though. Adrian, do we think they'll port Heart Gold Soul Silver like they did with Fire Red Leaf Green? I need it. I hope so.
Yeah, I'd play that. No doubt.
I would too. I love it. Nate Dog 210. My sugar mama wifey is giving me $7K to spend on Pokemon for my birthday. Wow. What's a PSA card you would take a chancey on with that money? $7K, a single card.
Wow, this is such a great question.
My answer is 5 copies of the Mewtwo from Breakthrough.
Okay, I'm gonna say spend some of your money on packs to rip, Nate Dog, because that's just fun. But I would say one card that I'm super bullish on is that Arceus Dialga Palkia statue card from Cosmic.
So good.
PSA 10, pick that up. I think it's maybe around 2,000 or so. But Cosmic as a box is like well over 4,000, I think.
Mm.
And yeah, I think that's a really good pickup.
It's a good answer. It is 2.2K last sale and the 2.3 I just saw. So yeah, it's right around there. Low twos. Wow. See, my brain is so melted about Pokemon cards. That seems cheap. That card is amazing.
Yeah, it's cool. Stunning. And for anybody who likes Gen 4, it's just absolutely iconic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Alex PokeCR 1989. What would you guys consider low pop in this market? Less than 500, 120? I think we have answered this question a long time ago. I think we said something very
depends
similar.
On the card we're talking about, the generation it's being printed in,
Totally.
The relative understanding of how much, how many boxes and whatever were printed back in the day. Low pop in vintage is different than low pop in modern, in my opinion. But regardless, I would say if a card comes to my table and it has less than 300, then I would say it's low pop in general.
Yep. In my mind, I put that line somewhere around 200 to 250 for like vintage and mid era. And then I agree with modern. Sometimes the answer is like 3,000. Like there are, but then we're talking more about gem rate. Like if you think of something like the Magikarp illustration rare, where there are thousands of that card. So in that sense, it's not rare, but there are 5 times that many that have been attempted and failed on the PSA 10. I saw this question earlier. I thought it was a pretty good one because I am trying to move personally. I bought a bunch of sealed. It's appreciated a lot. I now have more sealed than I actually want to have value-wise personally. And so I am trying to move some sealed and not, for the most part, not finding it like extremely liquid. So here's a question from Young Thai PC. What price point do you find sealed items start losing liquidity? As a casual seller, I have doubts about the risk and capability to sell high-end stuff online and maybe should reposition earlier.
I'm going to push back on this notion, actually. Everything loses liquidity as it goes up in price. Everything. Because there's a larger market of people who can afford a $1 item than a $2 item. That's just statistics. But I think the phenomenon that we're talking about is a realistic one. But the actual truth is that there are people and businesses who move high-end sealed all the time and are super good at it. And it's because they've spent that time to create that sales channel. I will admit it is a harder sales channel to create. And that's just a fact. And so you have to decide, are you wanting to develop that as a sales channel and become known as someone who moves high-end boxes? Or are you more interested in something that is comparatively lower lift, which is selling singles and slabs that are maybe relatively similar price points? The fact is that is easier. But what that also means is these guys who move these higher end boxes, because there's less people competing with them and it's not as easy a business, their margins are better. And so there's opportunity everywhere. It depends on what you're interested in. Sounds like you're the type of person who'd rather be in cards like singles and slabs. I personally am also that person. And so I'm going to say that price point for sealed items is $1,000.
I had $1,000 in my head exactly. That happens to be about what like Fusion Strike is right now. I want to say for booster box, it's about what that UPC, the 151 UPC we're talking about, is about hitting 1,000 now. And items, I agree that they get a little harder to sell around that. I don't find that as much with slabs.
Right.
But so the liquidity there, of course, your point objectively is correct. Like as stuff go up in price, as things go up in price, liquidity is lower because there are fewer people who can buy it. But I find that with $1,000 slab, it's sort of no problem. $1,000 box depends. Yeah, I mean, look, Young Thai, the original reason I started selling little tiny cards for tiny, tiny profits on eBay was to build up my experience and my credibility on eBay in anticipation of needing it in the future as a sales channel for the sealed stuff that I started accumulating, which I was accumulating because I thought it would go up and I would funnel that back into my collection. I had no idea where it would all end up. And that a year and a half later or 2 years later, I'd quit my job for all this. But that is the whole original reason why I started like hustling on the eBay side of things. This was long before I had a content following, long before I had connections with vendors. So yeah, build those sales channels if you're worried about it. But yeah, probably $300 boxes are more than 3 times easier to sell than $1,000 boxes.
Yep.
Jay takes, so curious, I guess, keep track of your inventory value pre and post show as a non-vendor. This would be great to know. This, Jake, has been one of the most common questions with our mentorship clients, our private mentorship clients. So you and I have slightly different approaches, though I'm converging much more toward what you're doing. What's your answer here?
The answer to this question changes depending on the scale of your business. And this is actually a pretty classic situation for all businesses. Most businesses start with a cash-based accounting system, and as they grow in size, they move to an accrual-based accounting system, for example. It's not because one is better than the other. It's just because one is more applicable to that size of business, or there are legal requirements for certain sizes of businesses to account for things differently. The answer to your question in regards to vending is, when I had an inventory that was maybe $10,000 to $15,000 in total value or less, then I would just track things before and after with spreadsheets and pictures and things like that. These days, I don't track total inventory value pre and post show. I track things more like transactions into the business and out of the business, so I can calculate profit margins for compliance and accounting and tax reasons.
My answer is becoming much more similar to yours. Early on, first year plus of doing this, I actually did. And Jake, I think you hate accounting type stuff, right? Sitting in a spreadsheet, you hate it.
Of course, yeah. Delegate that immediately.
Yeah, I know. You hired a bookkeeper like first thing.
Yes.
I don't hate it. I mean, I'm not that I'm gonna do it at this level of scale anymore. I don't. I liked actually having a clear understanding item for item of like what I paid, as close to item for item, what I paid versus what I sold it for. Helped me understand and gain confidence in what actually was a viable move and what wasn't, what was a good decision, what wasn't. So depending on your personality type, I recommended to one of our coaching clients who I saw in the chat today, he's a data analyst by trade. So I basically said, look, early on, you might enjoy tracking more like individual items for a little while. At this point, I actually found that it takes 10 hours for me to price my whole inventory. It took me like 10 minutes to add them up in a calculator and figure out how much I had in vintage, how much I had in slabs. And it really wasn't too bad. So that's what I'm moving to, is more like about, I think, Jake, you do this about quarterly. I'm going to do it about monthly. This is sort of my compromise to move toward the real business approach that Jake is doing for accounting reasons. But I like knowing where things are at and having an understanding of that. So it turns out once everything's stickered, actually pretty quick to do. But yeah, just take the totals and see how they change over month to month. I saw an interesting question here from Magic Marauder, kind of recent question here. You both added an employee recently. What are you using the extra hands for, and what are you staying hands-on with?
My goal right now with employees is for them to be proficient at pretty much all of the things, except for the things that are more like business management related. So legal things, tax things, all those kinds of stuff. I'll do that myself. But I want both Trey and then our new employee, my sister River, to be able to buy, sell, trade at the highest level, and to stream really well, and to know how to talk to customers, and how to be involved in content, and to all those things, be able to travel with us, all those things. And then as those proficiencies and skills develop, we can kind of identify where our places to specialize. And so right now we're having some thoughts about, okay, what can we delegate from Trey to River over time so that Trey can be more of a content creator, because he's more creative minded than either of the other two of us. And so that's just kind of identifying where the strengths lie and pushing those tasks in those directions. But the general answer to your question, Manic, is that although it may look like I don't work that much because I'm only live on the internet for like a couple hours every week, I have literally no personal life, barely squeezing in like exercise, sunlight, and dates with my wife. And so one of the things I really want to get back is my life. That'll be nice.
That'll be a thing you become more hands-on with.
Yeah, maybe much more hands-on with, like, being healthy and not getting sick 3 times every quarter.
Yeah, that's tough. Good answer. Yeah, mine is slightly different, but yeah, I saw some love for JT in the chat. JT's been awesome, and Manic Marauder's like, I was not implying you don't work at all. I don't think people think you don't work. It's definitely you're running a business. So JT,
sorry to cut you off there. There are some people in my comment section who think that whatever we're doing here is not a real or legitimate business. So like, I don't know what to say.
You know what? Yeah. We don't have to. We're not doing a Toka piece of my mind segment today, but
true.
I think a lot of those people are afraid of failure, and that's why they're saying that. They would absolutely do it if they could.
Sure.
So JT, yes. JT came to me already with good knowledge on Pokemon cards, particularly for modern. So ways, and he's subbed things to PSA himself. He's picked out gradables, had a decent gem rate for himself in the past. So right now, like near-term things JT is helping a lot with is that, like, for example, sometimes like we've done streams before where I'm on Midweek Machamps and he's selling on my Instagram, and I open it up and I have 30 new DMs and he sold $5,000 of cards at 25% mark. Like I made $2,000 sitting here. I paid JT 30% of it, happily. So that's one of the examples, is to just double that leverage, right? There will be plenty of days over this year where JT's running a story sale and I'm editing a video, and that's how you double up. Right. It's hard for me to do both. And so that's a huge one. When we're vending, I can have 2 tables and 4 cases now. And JT works like the modern side of the case. And that is actually what allows me to do plays like this. Like if I were really busy working the entire table, working on a $50 modern deal, which is important, like those customers are important too. But like I could be working a $5 profit deal and missing out on the guy that walked by. This guy, by the way, had like 20 grand of other PSA 10 Japanese slabs. And this is one of the 2 I picked up. I picked up a Gengar as well from him. But anyway, being able to have the space to work those deals, like JT's taking care of things. I don't know what JT's doing over there. And then 30 minutes later, we come up for air and I'm like, look what I just bought. And he goes, oh baby, look at that thing. And I'm like, okay, what'd you do? He's like, I sold $1,000 of singles. Like that's how I'm using the extra hands. It really has helped me scale. When I get gradable cards, I inspect stuff from a collection buy or something like that. And I ship them to JT and he puts them into the PSA sub. So that stuff, like inputting a PSA sub can take an hour or 2, and running it down to the post, like there could be a 2 or 3 hour process there that I no longer do. I just pay JT to do it. Wow. I love you too, JT. JT is the one who encouraged me to start streaming, by the way. So I don't know if I would have started that as soon as we did without his encouragement. So there you go. Connor Brown 952. Can you lay out the dynamics that would make you consign a card over trying to sell locally or at a show you're vending? Heart you guys. Heart you too, Connor.
Connor Brown, this is a question of your relative confidence in feeling like you could get the highest price for that card. because the facts are right now. Let's talk about the slow pop vintage stuff, because I would say like this is the most like realistic candidate for consigning right now, because what you're seeing is these all-time highs week after week through these consignment the auction houses at eBay. I can tell you for a fact that in between those all-time highs happening, like let's say this Dark Dragonite that I'm talking about, it sells on consignment last week. Let's say it sells for 15K, and let's say it sells this weekend for 20K. That week, there's private sales that people will be moving that card for 25K, because they're able to sell that card to the right person and tell the right story, and they've been able to hold themselves out as a person who can acquire and get you those higher end cards that are hard to find, right? So they built a sales channel specifically for that kind of item. And if you feel like you're the type of person who can get top dollar for something, then there's really no reason to risk sending it to a consignment house and having it go for less than what you think you could get for it yourself. And that last part is the answer to any type of card that you might consign. I recommend to a lot of people to send to consignment when their only other sales channel is for, to sell to somebody at a card show, for example. You will get more money if you send it to consign, and you're willing to, to accept the risk that comes along with that card might go for less than you think it will. There's some risk in sending it to, in the mail and all that stuff to the auction house. You're willing to accept that risk in the hopes that you'll get 10 or 15% more of the value out of the card. And you don't need the money right now, right? Like a consignment is going to net you the money at some point in the future and not immediately, where some people want to go and get that money right now at a card show. I'll take 80 or 85%. Just give me my money right now. I know that I'm going to be able to move it in a short period of time. So I would say consign things if you're not in a hurry for the money, if you're confident with that process, and you don't have these sales channels built for yourself to get the most out of a card. Who's this?
This is Gizmo.
Hi, Gizmo.
He's my baby. He's my biological son.
Wow. How old are you, Gizmo?
He's 12.
12?
Yeah.
Man.
You're doing good. So I love your answer, especially for high-end vintage. So I have, at certain times in my inventory cycle, I will have more slabs than I can feasibly put on a story sale or put out at a card show. And in those scenarios, when I've got my, 40 sort of flagship slabs out, and then I just have 40 sitting in my case, and I'm like, I'm never going to get around to selling these. Those are scenarios where I do this a lot for probably like Sun and Moon era and Sword and Shield era, mid-range PSA 9s and 10s. If I have them out at a show and they don't go within like 2 weekends, or I put them up on one, like if I try 3 times to sell them and they don't, I just go to consignment, get out of my face. I'm just churn. And so I've personally been doing that with Arizona TCG. They've sponsored a few videos on my channel before, not sponsoring this, but it has been a good experience. And because of that relationship, I get a slightly better than sort of like consumer percentage back out. And so for relatively little effort, I can get, only a few percent less than full market value for a lot of these cards. And they are, as Jake said, situations where I send them $5,000, $8,000 of cards at a time. And I don't need the money instant. I don't need the liquidity that day. And it's just sort of like every few days something sells. Great. I get a few $100 every few days through that channel, and I don't have to think about it. That's on autopilot. And I know my margins there are 15% or something like that. It's fine. I don't have to do much work. So it's a bit of a money, love, speed answer. Have we seen Versus is skyrocketing? I did. VS series skyrocketing. Yes. It's about time, I guess. Nostalgic Steve, really important question. How close is Jar to 100K on Insta? 99.1 last I saw.
Yeah, we're like 800 or 900 away.
Love it.
I mean, my Insta has grown like super slow compared to what it was doing like the first 3 or 4 months of the year last year, because I haven't put up as much short form content, and that's basically just kind of been across the board. We haven't done as much short form content, and reels is what really blows up your Insta following for sure. So yeah, we're just kind of growing bit by bit. Some mostly posts of like personal collection and inventory stuff is what we've been up to on the Insta. But I do also do a lot of business on there. So if you're interested in buy, sell, trade with Jar Chomp, that's a good place to do it. Thank you, Nostalgic Steve. Appreciate you.
Now I'm saying, Jake, would you do buyer POV videos like Ricky? I honestly love them. It's what brought me to Ricky's channel.
Yeah. Here's the truth, guys. When I go around shows and try to buy stuff, I try to buy stuff that I think I can like resell for the most part. Like here and there, I'll find a card that I need for myself, but like my e-reader binder is getting to the point where I very rarely find a card that I need for my binder. I only have like 70 more that I need. So it's pretty rare. So most of the time I'm walking around trying to find like plays that I think I could make a little money on. And yeah, based on what I've seen from other creators, I don't think YouTube takes too kindly to people paying well below sticker prices with like high confidence that they would make money on things. Yeah. Basically, I don't want to get cooked more than I already do on the internet. Good question.
That being said, we did do a little buying challenge, you and I.
Yes, and we'll do more of those. We'll do more things like that, or like we put out that video where I was at the mall and was getting offers from vendors and stuff on some niche stuff. Like we'll do some unique stuff like that we think has a good chance to be educational or competitive, and finally give me a chance to show you that I'm just better at buying stuff than Ricky, I guess, which so far has been utterly untrue, but we're gonna get there.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, I mean, dude, card party is in like less than 2 months, about 2 months from today now, actually. It's like the May 24th or something that weekend. So
Dude,
we were talking about like, this is to the earlier question about what are you doing with the extra hands? JT works the table, Trey and River work the table, and me and Jake go make a fun little video and buy $5,000 of cards each and see who wins whatever we decide the criteria is.
That's exactly right. We got to make sure I game it so that I win.
We'll make sure to come up with something like that.
Thank you.
Kavika says, do you guys think it matters for PSA graders if they see 2+ or more of the same card that's submitted for grading? Yeah, so I think what he's saying here, thanks for the super chat, by the way. This was early in the stream, like 9 minutes in. Some people have this tinfoil hat theory a little bit that if you submit 10 of the same card in a submission, that they will always find a reason to not let you win on all of them. What's your take or experience on that?
I have anecdotal experience to the other side of that. So like, I don't know. No, I don't think that. I think the only way you'd be able to prove it is if you were someone who had done experiments to the tune of thousands of cards so that you could statistically analyze this, which is, I don't think almost anyone has that kind of data. So basically what we're going off of is like how you feel, and how you feel, it chalks up to human nature. When things don't go your way as a human, you feel it 3 times worse than when they do go your way, as far as like how you would feel to the positive side. So if you've had an experience where you sent in multiple copies of the same card and you didn't get 10s, then you would believe this automatically. That's just human nature. But I don't think there's a statistical evidence of this.
I don't either. I've many times submitted about 2 or 3 copies where I got all 10s. Many times submitted 2 and gotten 10s on both. I have had, I did a sub where I had like this Lapras 7-Eleven promo from Southeast Asia where I submitted like 12 of them and 9 of them got 10s. And it was appropriate. Like I could kind of see after the fact how the 9s got 9s. I did also recently submit a bunch of those Lucario V-Stars, and it was sort of mixed. So like but it's sort of, I don't know, not enough to like Jake said, it's not empirical data, but anecdotally, I don't buy into this personally. Alrighty. Calvin Patel, is there a point to buy $200 to $500 cards and trying to flip, or is it only worth it for the cards in the thousands?
I do both. There's opportunity everywhere, Calvin.
Agreed. There are, I mean, this like $50 to $250 price point is really the sweet spot for a lot of the types of people who will attend a live stream or go to a card show. I don't know if that's representative of all collectors. Obviously, if you have a binder of $4 cards, those do really, really well too from a volume standpoint. But yeah, this price point, honestly, like for a lot of people, this is where the money is made. Like I think I could run my entire business this year on $50 to $500 cards if I had to.
Absolutely. There's enormous TCG player accounts who only do that.
Oh, show Wind Waker gifted. I don't know if we acknowledged this earlier. 5.
Yo, Wind Waker with the love. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks for doing that, man. What are from Calpis Kingdra? What are your thoughts on card restoration?
Card restoration is a reality of the hobby. A lot of the graded. Not I'm just saying. I don't know any percentages, but there's many graded cards in circulation that have had active restoration done to them and have gotten better grades than they would have gotten otherwise. It is just kind of a fact. I don't personally do it as far as like with my own hands, but I've sent cards to someone to get like flattened or pressed or things like that before.
Have you?
Mm-hmm.
How'd it go?
Mixed bags, mostly good.
Okay. I never have, and I've never tried. The most I'll ever do restoration myself is a little microfiber cloth and a little dab of water or something to get some gunk off of a card. Yeah. Or, you know, I do that plenty. Like I do that a lot, but nothing, you know, Kurt's Card Care, like they put in like a little torture chamber and stuff. I haven't
chamber. Yeah. No, I mean, I have some cards in my PC, like in my PC binder that, you know, they were like really nice copies of like a gold star or something, but they just had like a, you know, a crease, and sent those to get worked on, and they're in my binder and they look really nice, good as new.
Nice. Cool. Daniel Perez with another vote for, he says Midday Machamps with Trey and JT. That's pretty good. We've toyed with the idea of having them on the Machamp, so TBD, but if y'all want it, keep voting for it. Wind Waker, the thing about, the altering is the main thing I'm concerned about. I had a Gold Star Charizard one that I sent in and it got graded, and I regraded it and it got altered. Sort of like impossible to explain how it was.
It got flagged for being altered, you mean?
Flagged as altered the second time. Oh, sorry. I didn't send it in. I bought it, graded it. It got like a 4 or something. I cracked it, sold it raw to a guy and told him it got a 4, but I think it has upside to like a 6. It could be a 3. It had this weird water damage on the top. I graded it and got a grade, sold it to the guy raw with that disclosure. He graded it and it came back altered. And he swears that he didn't do anything. He just sent it as it is. So it is interesting that the thing that looked like water damage might have been a crease that was flattened out. And maybe that was what they were sort of flagging.
Yeah, just keep in mind that like PSAs, like when they say something is altered, what they're saying is we think it might have been altered, and so we're not willing to authenticate it.
Yeah,
it's at the end of the day, it's another subjective thing that they're doing. Now, like, do I feel like it is appropriate to like take an ink to a card and like, you know, take a little blue pen and put and try to remove whitening spots on a card? I don't think that's okay. But I think I am comfortable with having a card get like pressed out and have a crease removed. I personally think that the line is on the other side of that. I think they're two different things. Some people don't feel that way. Again, it's a subjective kind of situation.
The chat is saying, give us Trey and JT. Harrison Tuttle, interesting suggestion. 1-year anniversary episode. Our 1-year anniversary would be in the summer. I want to say we started doing this.
I think like July or
August, July is what I thought July as well. And we would probably be just doing it every other week. We'd be somewhere around 25, 26, 27 episodes. That would be around the range where we'd be hitting since we stay pretty consistent. So yeah. Okay, let's keep it rolling. what's the GOAT card of SV era? And then second question is, what card other than Charizard X will stand the test of time from ME era?
Go
ME era.
card from SV. I think it's unequivocally the Bubble Mew. If we're taking in value, liquidity, popularity, etc., all those things, I think it's like the perfect nexus of that.
Yeah.
Then, other than Charizard X, man, I mean that Gengar from Ascended is already doing incredible things. So that's probably where I'm at right now. That Gengar from Ascended, I think it will always make. All right, here's my elite forecast that we actually didn't even plug. My elite forecast is that the Gengar from Ascended in a PSA 10 will always be more expensive than the Gengar VMAX in a PSA 10 from Fusion.
Wow. What is the Ascended one right now?
I want to say it's like 3,200.
Look it up. I generally try sort of to ignore these brand new cards. You're right, 3,100. 31. Yeah, I could see that, man. It's a card has a lot of character. It's cool. One other card as the SV era GOAT, that's a contender that you might have just forgotten, Umbreon from Prismatic.
Yes. No, I mean that's the most expensive, but I really feel like the Bubble Mew is that perfect combination of not only value, popularity, but also liquidity.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The Prismatic Umbreon is, at least right now, maybe because the price just came up recently, I find not terribly liquid. I don't know. Do you have an easy time selling those when you have them?
I've done a really good job selling the PSA 10. I've probably had maybe 6 or 7 copies of that. Raw, yeah, definitely sits for longer.
Yeah, it's interesting. Sauce Man, what's up? Thanks for buying that Arbok. This guy, I think it was his first in the stream first slab. He bought the dark Arbok Japanese PSA 10 with a swirl.
That's sick. So that's an example of what I bet is an affordable, highly graded vintage card of great artwork. Like, what does that go for?
So they just recently climbed a lot. He bought that one from me, I want to say, for about $600. Sure. A slight premium for the swirl, and it included one of these like dragon scale things that matched it and the bumper and stuff for him. They were selling not terribly long ago for like 150 to 200 before the vintage run up. So I would say an average copy of that card right now should be worth about $500 with a, not a new cert, not a swirl kind of thing.
But again, we're talking about a vintage card. It's probably less than pop, probably less than 500 or so, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great example of stuff that still has a really fair entry price.
Yeah, I totally agree. I completely agree. Let's take a look if I can get the data really quick through. Did you say under 500 was your guess?
Yes.
Great guess. 426. Nice job. He is him.
I've been known to be him, sometimes not.
In this case, him. Let's see. Okay, it's an interesting, very tactical vendor one. GR Gaming TCG. Think back to being a new vendor with modest inventory. Is there a display layout preference you can recommend based on your own experience? Where do you place your best cards?
You've got evidence of my answer to this right on my channel, GR Gaming. Go to a vendor POV from, let's call it August of 2024, and you'll find how I was displaying my cards. I had a singles case. I think I had 4 cases, and they were those Amazon ones. And I had 2 stand-up easels. So I had 2 cases on the table and 2 cases standing up. And I would do singles in like a singles dedicated case and slabs dedicated case. I also was grading a lot more back then because, I could grade cards for like $11 a piece. And it was worth my time to grade cards that were in like the $5 to $10 range raw and $50 to $100 range in a 10. And so I had more slabs. My quantity of slabs was larger back then. So it justified having a whole case for slabs.
A new vendor with modest inventory. I ran a binder and 2 cases for a long time when I would consider myself sort of in this category of, maybe $5 to $20,000 worth of value on the table across a couple hundred items. I generally like to put more valuable items toward the bottom, like where they're really visible, and particularly for like nowadays with higher value items, I like not to overlap them, so they're just very easy to see and they kind of get their own space in the case. And then I do like to also put them. I like to often, like with 151. Oftentimes, people who are buying 151 or 151 master setters, I like to put all 151 together. I like to put, like, I'll try generally to put things together roughly by like price and set and era and things like that, just so people who are like, I want vintage Japanese, you're like, that's in this corner of this case. So that is a way that I've always liked to do it, and it's worked for me to make sure that I don't sort of miss out on capturing an opportunity to sell something to somebody that is just in a different case in a random place.
Totally.
Mythical Bidoof. When you guys are recording vendor POV, do you ask each individual if they're okay being on camera?
I've actually gotten into the habit of that more often, asking as I'm wrapping up the deal if it's okay if I show it on camera.
Yeah, I've seen you do that. I don't. 2 reasons. One, maybe a few reasons, but I guess they're basically one. Generally, these are in a public place. I will ask people if they don't want to for like higher end deals.
Yeah, for sure.
For people who, for that's understandable, right? You're buying something over $2,000 or whatever. You might want your face. A lot of people are generally like, I'm okay being in the video, just blur my face kind of thing. Like, I'm totally happy to accommodate that. But for an average deal, it's almost not feasible sometimes with how many people are at the table. Again, like JT's doing deals off to the side. Like sometimes you just got 5 deals going at a time, and it's just 5 hours straight of like 30 deals an hour. It's impossible to remember. It's just not practical. And so I sort of take the point of view of, it's a public place. There's no like rules against that, having a camera on in a public place. It's a card show. People generally know a lot of vendors have cameras on for security or content reasons. And as of my last couple videos, I have the camera to the side and I'm wearing the chest cam to do dual POV. So if you miss somehow that I'm recording, part of me is sort of like, that's a little on you, or people who are uncomfortable with it have a lot of opportunity to identify that I might be recording video and they can ask, which is relatively rare. And anytime people do, I will obviously accommodate, no problem. This one might be a tough one, but June Collectibles. I know you guys aren't CPAs, but curious about margins. How are you able to offer 80 to 90% plus of comps? Are the big vendors just not reporting on sales tax? I'm so confused.
How are people able to offer these 80 to 90% of comps? June, if I understand, it sounds like you're talking about offering, like the vendor is buying at those percentages. If that's what you're asking, is that how you're understanding it too there, Ricky? Just so I don't waste my time here.
I think so, yeah.
A lot of cards are being bought at that percentage because the vendor feels like they have the ability to sell it for above comps because it's a rarer card that just isn't available. Cards are being sold above public comps all the time, privately, all the time. Are the big vendors just not reporting on sales tax? I'm so confused. I don't know what other big vendors are doing, but I definitely filed sales tax. Otherwise, I would be breaking the law.
Same. And Jake, you encouraged me to complete my reseller certificate for the state of California, which I submitted to eBay and got approved. So that allows you as a reseller to buy things on eBay without paying sales tax up front, with the essentially handshake agreement with the government that, hey, there's going to be a digital record of the things that you're buying. And presumably for most of the things that you're selling, we're going to come back around and ask about that $10,000 you spent on eBay last year and how much money you made off of it. And then you will pay tax on the profit or loss, depending on how it shakes out. So yeah, short answer is yeah, reporting on it, but like as a lump thing. You are supposed to do, at least in California, I am not a CPA, quarterly estimated payments.
Yeah.
In the state of California, there is a 7% interest as kind of a penalty, kind of a fee, but it's really an interest if you don't pay that quarterly. There is an arbitrage there, not financial advice, just how it works sometimes. There's an arbitrage there if you're really working at this, that you, and rather than lowering your liquidity and paying that quarterly estimated tax every quarter, that you just pay it once in a lump sum at the end of the year and you eat the 7% fee, because you can turn 50% margin, whatever, you can gain 50% on that value. Not financial advice. For a lot of people, that's a really bad move because you don't have the liquidity at the end of the year. And then it turns out you owe a $25K tax bill and it's like hard to pay that $25K tax bill. But if you're doing this correctly, it's not illegal. It's essentially just like it's interest rather than a penalty, really.
Yeah.
Not financial advice.
Not at all.
Just to be clear. Let's see. Grim Warrior, what is the best way to source a low pop card if no one has them up for sale and you don't have access to shows?
This is a tough question. I mean, this question, Grim Warrior, is the exact reason why a lot of these cards sell over comps all the time. It's because there's a premium being put on top of the value of the card for the value of acquiring the card, right? So in that way, the seller it's kind of like a real estate agent, right? Like there's enough complexity and acumen that's required in order to source and to sell the item, that there's kind of like a finder's fee almost on top of the actual value of the card, right? So that's maybe one way to think about it. So I would say in this case, maybe be networking with vendors who are going to bigger shows, who have access, and then save some search queries on eBay. That's what I would, when I was not traveling as much, I would be saving search queries on eBay and hoping for those to hit and for things to hit the market.
There are some people out there who do, I don't know what it's called, but like they will go looking for it for you. There's like a term for that, right?
Yeah, those are called scalpers. Those are called filthy, scummy resellers.
Not the term I was looking for.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, somebody who will go like for a fee, they'll do like for a finder's fee, they will source things for you. So for some of the, maybe looking around, see if you can find people like that, see if there's anyone in your network that does that. I've had people ask me before plenty of times, and I just don't, it's just not part of my business. I don't think it would make sense for me to do it, but there are people who, certainly they provide a service where they look for rare cards for you. They just have the connections or whatever to find them in some cases.
Yeah. Usually for those kinds of people, it has to be the kind of item that's expensive enough and they have like a pre-arranged fee on top to make it worth their time from other things that they could be doing,
Earlier during our conversation about 20 minutes in about certs, old cert versus new cert, Adam had asked, would you still value a PSA 10, even if it's as a 10, even if it's an old cert? Absolutely.
Sure. I would say the only thing I would add on top of that, I mean, I have a bunch of old cert PSA 10s in my personal collection, and I would not sell those for less than PSA 10 value. But I would say that if a card came to my table, and whether it's a new cert or an old cert, I look at the front and back of the card and I determine that it's just like actually mangled and beat to crap, I might not personally value it at a 10, in which case I would not feel comfortable making an offer on that card because there's maybe somebody else in the room or on the internet who would value it at the 10, but I personally would not. And I actually, when I do private deals with other vendors and they bring me a really cool card, they want to, hey, what can you pay on this? And I'll look at the front and back of the card And if it's very frequently that I say, this card is not clean enough for me to be willing to pay the price that I'm sure that you're going to want on it. So I'm probably not your buyer. That happens every show I go to.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen this adage in the chat a few times: buy the card, not the grade.
How you doing? How's your stamina? You got 10 more minutes in you?
Yeah. How about you? Good. Yeah. I'm just trying to find good questions that we haven't already done. I'm trying to unstar them as we go. So Pokebender was just giving a little shout out to the Vendor Game Corner Midweek Machamps Discord. Pokebender is doing their first show this weekend. Everyone has been so helpful answering all their questions. Yeah, our Discord, maybe one of our mods, Trey or JT, if you're there, just drop the invite in, because we don't have one of those like premium Discord things where you can have a permanent link. So it can be a little hard to join our Discord unless you get provided a link, and they expire like every 7 days. But if you're not in the Discord, it's a really nice little place. There's like little corners for collectors and polls, and there's little vendor game corner that is, for my money, the best free community of vendors giving free game all the time to each other.
Yeah, good people in there.
Yes. Right. Sorry, I'm just trying to unstar some of these that we've already asked. Do we think 151, this is from John A. Torres. Do we think 151 products, sealed raw slabs, will drop in value to where we can sell what we have now and then buy it later if the price went down? Do we think these will drop in value?
I have 151 stuff in my PC that I'm not willing to do that sort of arbitrage game with. It's like, the answer is probably yes. There's probably going to be some difference in value there, but like, that difference in value is not worth the time that it would take to like sell all those things and then try to reacquire them. So John, if we're talking about for personal collection purposes, I would say if you already own it and you know you're going to want to own it a long time, then you should just keep it.
I agree. I mean, look, it's hard to say, no crystal ball. Will things, you can't time the top and the bottom on these things. 151 is like, 151 Evolving Skies are the most no-brainer modern sets. Maybe Prismatic is up there too, but like, as I'm curating through my sealed stuff, the 151 and the Evolving Skies is stuff that I'm like fairly attached to. Wind Waker thinks, hot take, the most recent 151 boom is late.
I completely agree, Wind Waker, but then also like, it basically means that all the booms that should have happened up to now are just happening all at the same time. It's like they're what's that called? They're speed running. They're speed running the boom.
Earlier in the stream, about half an hour in, Michael, $5 super chat. I have a PSA 10 Gym Challenge Lieutenant Surge's Raichu Unlimited classic card. It's pop 170. First edition is pop 421. Will Unlimited ever sell for more than First Ed in English?
This is actually the case for a lot of gym cards, a lot of Neo cards, that the Unlimited is lower pop. And I can tell you that there are people who do really well with Unlim WotC cards, PSA 10s at these shows, because they are so rare and they're selling for a much higher number than you would think in relationship to the first edition, but like being more expensive than them. I don't think that, like, you might see that path like a blip, once or twice, where like the last sale on the first edition was 3 or 4 months ago and they're both trending, and so the Unlim is the one that comps more recently, and so it went for more. But like, all of the lowest lists on the first editions are going to be higher than that, for example. So I don't think that the market would ever allow that to happen on like a overtake for on a long-term basis, just because the first edition stamp, it does carry a lot of weight.
I have nothing to add. Pokebro JT says, some people think of Jake as evil Coop. I see him as nice Lieutenant Surge.
Hey, Lieutenant Surge, he still gave gave Ash, I think, what, 2 or 3 tries? Like, he roasted Pikachu, but, like, you know, he let him come back for a second try.
June Collectibles follow up on the sales tax answer. What are the margins you shoot for then on non-low pop stuff like regular modern? Hard time sourcing cards under 80%. Yes, it is hard. Under 80% is the answer.
It is hard, June, and that is all good things, all ways to make money are hard, you know. Like, if it was easy, then that arbitrage would disappear, right?
Mhm.
The market kind of solves for easy arbitrage in a short period of time. So yeah, I mean, sourcing under 80% is hard, but in order to get an above 20% margin, you'd have to make it happen. And I would say, unless you're doing big volume, then getting 20% is really what you need in order for it to at least make sense for your time. That's my take.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, nowadays with this sort of modern stuff, if I don't just get it in trades at shows or something like that, like if I get an influx of them, I am probably buying a collection. I'm probably trying to take them no more than about 75% on, let's say, like sub $250 modern. I would rarely pay more than 75, just because otherwise it's just not worth the time. It's one of the reasons why I'm a little bit indexed toward vintage and mid-era right now. Yeah, so Wind Waker caught this. I did think we were very close to getting a nice little Jakeism there. I think Wind Waker might have quoted you word for word here. All good things to make money are hard. I think what you almost said was all ways to make money are hard, which is also not quite true. But I think what you got to was that like all things worth doing are hard. And I think that's absolutely true. If this were easy, everyone would just be making a killing doing it. This isn't easy. That's part of the thing.
What I almost said is all easy ways to make money are hard. Oh my gosh. It's precisely this reason that, like, when I get totally lambasted in my comment section or whatever videos are out there about me, I just gotta take it, because, like, when you talk so much on the internet, you're bound to say some stupid stuff, and that's just my life.
All easy ways to make money are hard. Wow, that is awesome. That's one of your best.
Hey man, I own it. I bought a fake Mew. I bought fake Evolving Skies boxes. I blabber on the internet and say gibberish. That's just my life.
We have a lot of shirts to make. Baby got back swirl. Make your money while you're alive. And now all easy ways to make money are hard.
Isn't it so nice to be you, though, Ricky? You know, perfect haircut. Congrats on leaving your job. All of your vintage plays are super ballsy. You're so cool. Wow. What a great guy.
Remember, we opened this live with you saying that you've been longing to give me your undivided attention in a one-on-one pod for the first time in a few episodes.
I think what's happening, Ricky, is that the longer that I'm in this position of, like, making content and doing Pokemon stuff, just like the more inevitable that it is that I'm just going to be an unk. I'm an unk person. I just say stupid unk things and make unk plays. That's what it is for me.
And I'm not unk, or I'm on the path to unk. I'm just a year and a half behind.
No,
you.
you're handsome, devilish, cutting edge, successful, all those things, you know.
Okay. All right. No no objection from me.
Yeah.
So ridiculous. What do we think of the prices from Pooks Magoo earlier? What do we think of the prices of loose packs in the Swoosh era? Many of them are cheaper than SV and often 60% the price of sealed booster boxes. I assume maybe sealed per pack price.
Yeah.
So it's just, yeah. So loose packs. Yeah, that's interesting observation. It is. What do you think?
I got a hot take for you here, man.
Uh-oh.
and I've been converted to this opinion because if we're talking about Sword and Shield, I am a heavy bag holder. I
Mhm.
love that generation. I've got a
Yeah.
lot of it.
Yeah.
Um, SV pound for pound, it's just straight up better. It's a better pack opening experience. So what we're hoping for with Sword and Shield is that like we can keep getting appreciation on our sealed boxes because the boxes themselves become more rare and collectible and just kind of appreciate over time. But like the pack experience, although it is somewhat tied to the sealed box, it's also like when you're talking about loose packs, we're talking about what's the opening experience, what's your pull rates, what are the top chases worth, um, and SV is just flat out better than Sword and Shield in all of those ways.
Wow.
So they're going to be more expensive loose packs because people actually want to rip that stuff.
Wow. Dang. I don't hate it. You know, we did didn't we do SV versus Sword and Shield with Danny Phantom?
We did. We talked mostly about like some set list stuff and how much we loved the chase cards.
Yep.
But like what we really didn't talk about there as much were pull rates and pull and opening experience. But like guys, even like the best sets, like Evo Skies is different. Evo Skies is in a class of its own. It already bears that, right? The box is crazy expensive, the loose packs are expensive, blah blah blah. So move
Yeah.
on. But
Yeah.
let's go to the others. We're talking about Fusion, Lost Origin, some of the other like Brilliant, Chilling, the bigger
Mm,
ones.
mm,
If you go back and open some of those boxes, you're gonna get crushed.
mm,
Crushed.
mm.
Like you might get 7 to 10 total hits, and if you don't pull a chase card, you're wrecked. But in Scarlet and Violet, you cannot pull an SIR and still have really good chance to pull like good IRs that
Yeah.
in graded 10, like you can still do really well. Like Paldea Evolved, if you grade, obviously if you get the Magikarp in a 10, you've just, crushed it, you 10x. But like are plus in value if you pull and grade a 10 Tyranitar, Raichu, Mousehold, like Meryl, a handful of others, like
Mm,
you're doing really well
yeah.
if you pull and grade those. But in Sword and Shield, like your chances of getting crushed are way higher. And so people aren't willing to put the higher price tag on the packs because they're not as desirable to open.
The chat is kind of going off about this. So, Brilliant Stars, Lost Origin, Crown Zenith, like we're talking about these trainer gallery, Galarian gallery sets that essentially replicate a little bit of the experience of having IRs, right?
They're fire to open at $3 and $4 a pack,
Yeah.
Fit Freak, and like at retail, like they were fun for sure.
Yeah.
But like if we're comparing them pound for pound with SV,
Yeah.
like I think it makes sense that a lot of SV
Yeah.
boxes have already and will continue to eclipse Sword Shield boxes in price.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. We are at about 3 hours. We have been in the Q&A for, I think, over an hour now. Do we want to call it there? Do one more?
I think we did get someone who threw in a super chat that I don't know if we did answer. Can you quick review that?
I got to it. I had it in the start. It was the unlimited. It was the Raichu, Lieutenant Surge's Raichu
Oh,
question.
yes. Okay, perfect. Sorry about that.
We did get that. I'm trying to go through and uncheck them, and I think I've gotten all of them. So we still have like 20 questions we haven't answered, but
Let's do one more.
okay. Let's try to pick a good one. D-Hawk saying my ears look experienced, bro. There's an angle in my house where when the sun is setting, it's just all up on my left ear, and it looks like bubble gum, bro. It's not cool. It's not chill.
Yeah, I remember I have minor cauliflower ear in my right ear,
Mhm.
and when I go and train and it gets kind of swollen, when I come home, Franny is immediately on my case. Like you're going with headgear next time. Like no questions about it. So I trained a lot in headgear, and it sucks training in headgear. But like Cauliflower ear also sucks.
It does. Training and headgear is unk though. Jar chunk. Hey, Goated pulls us here. He says, "I love listening to y'all in the shower."
Arvin, great to see you in the shower, my friend.
Always great to see Arvin in the shower.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to know that I'm in the shower with Arvin.
Yeah, I love it. Let's end on this one. We have answered a question like this before, but it's been a while. What Pokemon that doesn't have an AR or SIR yet? Sorry, is there a Pokemon you want to see an AR SIR for that doesn't have one yet? Scyther is one.
Lugia.
It's
gotta be Lugia.
Gyarados.
Facts.
No brainer.
Gyarados at least gets a cameo in the Magikarp, but we got no Lugia. We got no Rayquaza.
Mega's gonna change this block will change the Rayquaza one, I imagine. But fair. Indeed. Yeah, but we got 5 Greninjas.
And 3 Psyducks.
3 Psyducks. Those Psyduck ones are pretty good though.
I'm not complaining, but like, give me 2 Psyducks and a Lugia.
The chat's going off. They're voting on this one. Yeah, Gyarados, Torterra, Wooper, Kyogre. Kyogre's a great call.
Kyogre's a great mon. The Kyogre Amazing Rare, one of the best dollar cards of all time.
Yeah, there's the Amazing Rares in general. Typhlosion, another great one. Arcanine got the Chinese exclusive, which I own for the first time. I just got one the other day.
Yeah, we did too. We have one in our inventory for the first time ever.
I don't know if I'm going to find it.
I don't love the crown on its head, the hat.
I did find it. This thing's cool. Yeah, the crown on his head is not. It could be better. It is cool though.
Wind Waker, you got an Infernape in Twilight Masquerade, okay? Give me Lugia again.
So apparently you've owned this exact card 2 times.
I think so. I think I legit have owned. I have owned for a fact an 8-cert Legend Maker Holo Machamp twice.
The person who brought this to me said they got it from you, so that's fine.
Yes, then yes.
There you go.
That's the one.
Muck, Onyx, Kyogre.
We've got 2 Steelix, but no Onyx. So that's a good call.
Kyogre got an art rare?
I don't think so. That's Wailord. Different shapes.
Different whale. Okay.
All right. Should we wrap it up there, my man?
Elite Forecast?
Elite Forecast. I already went. I've got Mega Gengar EX will always be more expensive in PSA 10 than the Gengar VMAX from Fusion. What do you got?
I'm going to play back something you said a while ago where you called 151 booster packs. I want to say you said to $20 by April. And this was probably like late last year, maybe like in November.
It's aging so well.
It is. You undershot it. It's like 27 a pack or something right now. Last I checked. So I'm gonna run that one back, but I'm gonna just push it forward a notch. So I'm going 151 booster packs between $35 and $40 by May 15th.
Wait, in the next 4 or 5 weeks?
6 weeks.
Man, I love it. Pump those bags.
It has this like it goes out of rotation April 10th thing. And people in the past, this has been happening since really early. One of my good early plays before I knew anything was that Sword and Shield sets were starting to sell out on the Pokemon Center around this time, 2024. Yeah. And Lost Origin booster boxes and cases were just available on PokemonCenter.com at MSRP for like 2 years straight. So I went and bought one. And then like the day after I bought one, they did come off of the Pokemon Center website. And then they like doubled in price overnight because everyone panicked that was their last opportunity ever. It's out of print, blah, blah. So I just think the same thing is going to happen. That's why I'm calling May 15th. It's like something's going to go viral about April 10th. It's out of the circulation or whatever. And then people are just going to start buying it up. And it's a bold prediction. I'm ready to be wrong. Evo Skies packs are not $40 yet, but $35, 151. If people panic after April 10th, I can see it. I'm calling it.
I love it. May you be true with this. I have a few stashed just in case.
All right, man. Anything you want to promote before we call it a night?
We should have a vendor POV coming out on Friday. We also do have a resurgence of the Chompcast coming out. A new episode comes out tomorrow morning. So if you guys want to hear that, you'll get my breakdown of what I feel like is going on with the reaction to this despicable video that I put out on this past Friday. So if you'd like to get my thoughts on how that went down, tune in tomorrow morning. And then someone did ask in the chat about, are we going to go to the Midwest? Yes, we're doing the Collector Palooza show in April. That's in Indianapolis. It's going to be probably one of the best shows in the Midwest all year. So they're not paying me to say that. They are covering my cost to be there. So shout out the organizers of the show. We're going to have a great time. Coop's going to be there. Beard Dad, me, Pokebeard, tons of vendors. Indianapolis. Would love to see any of you there who are in the area.
Nice. Love it. I have a video coming out on Monday as usual. I've got a ton of video ideas. I'm excited to not have meetings during the week anymore after April 1st, where I will just be able to spend probably a few days a week during the week instead of on the weekends, writing and editing and all that good stuff. So I've got a ton coming out. I'm reacting to on Monday, I'm going to be reacting to my video from about a year and a half ago titled "I Didn't Quit My Six-Figure Job to Sell Pokemon Cards." So I'm
yes, you did.
Revisiting that video now that I have. I've got a buyer POV, the second part of the East Bay video, coming out the week after that. I'm working on a video probably after that on confusing things for new collectors and vendors. So things like certs and swirl premiums and reverse hollows that look not like reverse hollows and that they're more valuable. First edition and unlimited in Japanese, like all these things, like little things like that, doing a little thing. So that's our stuff. And then we'll do a stream. JT and I will probably do a stream in April.
I love it. I love it. Well, we'll be back in 2 weeks with another edition of Midweek Machamps. We'll probably dive into a little bit of Ricky's move away from corporate life. And until then, thank you guys all so much for the support. Thanks for rocking with us. Have yourselves a great evening and see you later.
We love y'all. Bye.